Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Themis and Toad. Let me check my microphone. Is this thing on? Is this thing recording? Hi. How are you all? How's everyone doing on this lovely day? I was over on TikTok. I was just live on TikTok, and I think it is so annoying when I go to TikTok, turn on the camera, and I look great. And I completely forget that there is an automatic filter on TikTok. So I'm just looking at myself in the TikTok on camera, and I'm like, oh, good, period. And then I come to YouTube, turn on the camera. I mean, it's still good in my opinion, but then my real skin, my my real skin is just showing. Ain't nobody got time for that. It's giving me skin dysmorphia. Anyway, how are you all? How are you all? Um, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. How's everyone doing? I hope we're all well. I hope we're I hope we are all well. I just came back home. I was away. It was fun-ish. I flew out for a day. It was good. I had room service, racked up the bill, but I only got PF Chang's and I ordered everything on the menu. Um, so I was stuffed last night. Um, I need Themis to follow a schedule because I'm at work and I'm upset. No, 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 no. I do follow a schedule on Fridays at 6 p.m. These are just me going live randomly. All right. So I watched part of Sin's video and I watched the beginning and the end, and I wanted to respond to it, not respond, but react rather to it, because I've been wanting to hear Anisa sort of sit through and tell her story. And I'm pretty excited now to go through this with you all. Um, I do want to. I was when I was on TikTok, people were asking if I could drop the link so people could come up and share their thoughts. Um, I will, I am open to it. I just don't want anyone to be disrespectful. Um, so yeah, are you wearing foundation? Period. Y'all play too much. All right, let's do it. I had two TikTok live. I had a TikTok live when I was in Michigan last night, and I had a TikTok live just now. So period. Anywho, thank you all so much for being here with me. Let us hit the intro, come back, and get into the schmess. The schmess. It's not messy, I don't think. From what I saw, it was very well done. So let's see. Almost world. All right. Sorry, I had to push the camera away from me because absolutely not. My mom said I look like my face is swollen. All right, let's get into it. Get into it. Yep.
Couple minutes. Hey everyone. Hey Divine. It's good to see you here. Hey, just saying, we're here. And okay, so listen, let's just get to it because we already know
All right, it looks like it's freezing up a little bit on my end. Let's try this.
what we're here for. Y'all already know that we are here largely to
Please don't do this right now. Let me end the share and then start sharing again because what we're not gonna do is be fidgety on the Lord's Day while the Lord's work is being done.
discuss this situation and this problem that is Umar Johnson. But we're not just here to talk about Umar Johnson. We're actually here to talk about a much larger problem in the community called absentee fatherism. Umar Johnson plays into this because Umar Johnson is one of the many people who have spoken out against the epidemic of absentee fathers in the Black community. So,
all right, is it freezing for y'all too? Like, it is freezing, right? Let's try this.
we don't need to debate whether there.
Wait, it is freezing. Like, the sound is fine, but it's
There is an issue with absentee fathers. We know that there is an issue with
all right. Let me try one more thing because I'm absolutely not about to sit through a struggle stream. I'm gonna lower the output for myself.
absentee fathers. Is it only an issue in the Black community? No, but talk about a much larger problem in the community called absentee.
Yeah, I tried. I lowered this to like 360. I'm gonna just try to see if something else plays.
What's the best way to make me mad?
Best way to piss you off?
Yeah, this is not my. I think this is a StreamYard thing. It's not my internet because everything else is fine. I'm gonna do something that I've never done before, something new, something innovative, something great. I don't know what's happening, and this is annoying me and my homegirls. All right, here we go. Wait, y'all said it's muted now. Girl, all right. All right, let's try this one more time. I'm only giving this one more time because I am jet lagged. I'm not jet lagged, ain't no jet lagged at all. All right, I can share the windows to share audio, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's do this. That's the last time.
Is an issue with absentee fathers. Is it?
I know the problem and I can't solve it. So we might not do it today because Streamlab is a problem. If I share the entire screen, the visual freezes up, but you hear the audio. If I share just the window, right? If I go to the window and share it, to share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Let's try to share a tab. Cynthia G. All right, let's try this.
Is it only an issue in the Black community? No, but it is most prevalent in the Black community. The Black community, as we know, has long.
Are you guys hearing and seeing it fine now? All right, good. All right. Whew. Look. Ain't nobody got time for this. Ugh.
People who have spoken out against the epidemic of absentee fathers in the Black community. So we don't need to debate whether there is an issue with absentee fathers. We know that there is an issue with absentee fathers. Is it only an issue in the Black community? No, but it is most prevalent in the Black community. The Black community, as we know, has long been criticized and pathologized for its epidemic of absentee fathers. We all know this. We know that every single news station has talked about the absentee fathers in the Black community. We know there was a report that was created addressing the issues in the Black community, one of them being absentee fathers, which was the Moynihan report. And we know that many so-called Black scholars have addressed the issue of absentee fathers in the Black community because it is so prevalent, because it is so pervasive in the Black community. It has been extensively discussed by people like Umar Johnson. The Black community has long been criticized and pathologized for the issue of absentee fathers. While the Black community will blame Black women for absentee fathers, the rest of society understands that the only people who are able to be blamed for the absentee father epidemic are the ones perpetuating it, which is the absentee fathers. We've heard a wide array of excuses in the Black community about absentee fathers. We've heard about white supremacy. We've heard about welfare extracting Black men from the home. We've heard about Black women choosing where.
Sorry, I'm going to let her play a big chunk before I interrupt again. But her using the word extract, her using the word extracting is intentionally diabolical. Welfare extracting Black men from the home is it's diabolical. Let me say, I do actually have a systemic issue around obviously the Black community and the system involved, but I do actually fully agree with her on this, where Dr. Umar in particular, when you're saying men are being taken from the home and blaming single motherhood, you don't get that excuse when no one is extracting you from the home. When no one is extracting you from the home, you don't get to do it. And what I find is the men who are talking about the system took them from the home and prevented them from being that fathers, that they are lying. Right. That's it. That's what I found. They're essentially all lying. Ain't nobody telling you to have children and not be there for your children. And even if welfare did come in and fact extracted you, even if we don't know the means of extraction, even if we don't know the means of extraction, you can still be in your child's life even after you've been extracted from them. The word extracted is diabolical.
Welfare over having fathers in their home. This is something that Umar Johnson himself has said. And we know that he hasn't spoken about absentee fathers once. We know he talks about absentee fathers quite a bit. He also acknowledges that this is one of the biggest issues in the Black community is single mother headed homes. But what no one wants to acknowledge in the Black community is that Black men, these Black fathers, are the ones who are perpetuating the absentee father epidemic in the Black community. They are literally causing the absentee father issue in the Black community. But rather than take accountability, they've blamed Black women, they've blamed the system, they've blamed welfare, they blamed the white man, they've blamed everything that they could except the white woman. And we already know why they didn't blame the white woman, because then they would have to justify why their preferences has done so much destruction to the community. The issue of absentee fathers in the Black community has been discussed many times on many different platforms. And as many of you know, a few years ago, I had the opportunity to discuss the issue of absentee fathers on Fox Soul with Umar Johnson, who is also known for speaking against absentee fathers and who is now facing his own backlash after his own daughter came out exposing him for being an absentee father. But the panel was discussing, though, whether or not there was a war on Black men. This is what the panel was discussing. You guys already know my thoughts on the war on Black men. I was a part of this panel, and I was adamant that there is no external war being waged on the Black community, and I still believe that. While I do not believe
I disagree with Finn here, by the way. I don't know if I would call it a war, though. I do think there are systemic issues intentionally aimed at Black people generally, but her bigger point, I agree with. I do agree with her bigger. I disagree on whether or not there is a. I would call it a war, but yeah.
that there is a war being waged on Black
But I don't think it's on Black men specifically.
men by an external source, I do believe that there is a war being waged against the Black community. The war is waged by Black men, and one of the primary weapons they use is abandonment. We already know there's a whole host of issues that presents in males and females when they have an absentee father. The issues are not being caused by the single mother. They are being caused by the fathers who refuse to take care of their children. Now, Black men will tell you that someone is extracting them from their home, but what Umar Johnson failed to tell anybody on this panel discussion is who took him out of the home. Who is to blame for Umar Johnson not providing for, being in the life of, or pouring into his own daughter that many of us didn't even know he had? The reason we have yet another contradiction is because we hold Black men absolutely to zero standards. The Black community gives Black men a pass to abandon their children. Even though Black women complain about Black men abandoning their children, we still help to give them a pass in abandoning their children. They also have a legal pass to abandon their children as well. Per the research that I did, there has yet to be one man, regardless to race, who has been prosecuted for abandoning his children. There has been numerous women who have been. I feel the need to point that out because I think it's quite clear that we live in a system of injustice towards women. One of the injustices perpetuated on women is burdening them with the oppression of single motherhood. Even though Umar Johnson has spoken out about oppression numerous different times, he has still subjected at least one Black woman that we know of to the oppression of single motherhood. But I want to play.
Wait, where does Sin agree with the manosphere? I haven't heard any agreement with the manosphere. If you want to let me know, let me know. I don't hear any agreement with the manosphere at all. So it's very difficult. When I pause, I usually engage where I disagree. And so, like, having heard nothing to disagree with, I'm just watching. I'm just watching.
Play a little clip for y'all. I want to play a clip because I don't want to lie on Umar Johnson. I don't want to do that. So we're going to look at Umar Johnson's own words. This is when we were on Fox Soul discussing, and I want y'all to look at this clip here as we listen to Umar Johnson explain what he thinks is important.
Oh, yeah. Well, if they're trashing him, they're trashing him. The thing is, they're not trashing him because he's a single man. Well, I don't know if he's single. He's a man who created a bunch of single mothers and abandoned his children. That's not why they're mad. They're just dragging him, saying, oh, y'all women thought he cared about y'all. Ha, ha, ha. He's a hypocrite. And I don't think they're doing that, the actual work to realize they too are degenerate.
Important in the community and what he believes is the cause of the absentee father epidemic. Let's get into it.
Are a Black man. Why should I care about a war being waged against you?
If you care about the future of Black people, then you naturally have to care about the destiny of Black men. When you look at most of the pathology in the Black community today, from Black on Black crime, to single female-headed households, to poor academic outcomes, to unemployment, much of that is due to the war against Black men. So if we want to survive and thrive as a Black family, as a Black community, we have to implement solutions for Black men.
Now, I want to leave it there Because as you were listening to Umar Johnson talk about how important it is to invest in the destiny of Black men, you heard him say everything from crime in the Black community to mother-headed homes, to single mother-headed homes, it is due to the war on Black men. Now, perhaps Umar Johnson got caught in that war. He didn't tell us at all, because when he was on Fox Soul, he also did not tell us that he even had a child. We didn't even know that Umar had a child, but now that we know he had the child, we know that he has abandoned said child. Why are we saying that Umar Johnson abandoned said child? Well, because Umar Johnson has admitted to abandoning said child.
You know what? She's diabolical for this opening. She's diabolical. I agree with the opening. I'm here for the opening, and I think Umar Johnson should be dragged in this way for this opening. The perfection, period, drag. You sat up there to talk about how the war on Black men has to do with female, FEEMAIL, female-headed households, and the reason that happened is because of some war on Black men when you up and left your responsibility without anyone waging war on you specifically. You just up and left. So all these men get to up and leave their family and talk about how there is a war on Black men when they're the ones leaving. Drag them. I don't know why I'm just repeating what she just said.
We will not lie on Umar Johnson, but what we will do is we will play his words to you. Umar Johnson has paraded around as if he was a man with no children. That's why I say most of us didn't even know that Umar Johnson had a kid. We didn't even know he had a kid. I didn't know he had a kid. Put a 1 in the chat box if you knew Umar Johnson had one child. I did not know he had one child. Now, if you were to ask me on this same panel, was there a war on Black men? Then you would understand that there absolutely isn't a war on Black men, except for the one that Black men are waging against the community on their own. I try to bring a sense of accountability here because the reality is the only...
Sorry, I know this is annoying, but I have to stop because I disagree with this sentiment. I do believe there are external forces that are, with the rollback of like affirmative action, DEI, I do actually think that this is an attempt to address and attack Black people specifically, and other people are collateral. So while I don't have to keep explaining that because I've said it multiple times, I don't want my own views to get lost in me just laughing. So I do believe that there are external forces at play. External forces. External forces seem so esoteric. The government and white folks. How come you have the Black folks? Period. From Jim Crow forward.
way that we can fix the issues in the Black community is to acknowledge that we have them. That means we have to also acknowledge that Black men are choosing to walk out on their children. They are not being extracted from their home. We have to acknowledge that with Umar Johnson as well. And we also have to ask ourselves, how insidious is it for...
Girl, Dr. Umar crash out, you getting blocked. You're getting blocked not only for your name, but for this comment. You're getting blocked, and there is no mercy. There's no mercy. You're getting blocked. Like, ain't nobody got time for you to be naming yourself. Ain't nobody got time for you to be naming yourself. Dr. Umar. Wait. Yeah, you're out of pocket.
For a man to act as though he centers the Black family, but then he's chosen to partially create one himself and then abandon the children. That's what this man has chosen to do. Is he the only person who has chosen to do this? No. There are multiple Black men who were held up as leaders, who were revered, who did the same thing. Roz Moy said there's no war on Black men. These lame ninjas are the one waging war on the Black woman and child. They are, and they refuse to take any accountability for it. They won't take any accountability for it. Now, someone's saying 3 kids, 3 baby mamas. I don't know that to be true or not, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the number alone. But what we do know is that one has come out and she has been adamant that Umar Johnson has not been present for a day in her life, not a single day. Not one single day. And this is a problem. Because even if you only had one child, I would think this would be the child that Umar would be parading around. I would think this child would be Umar's progeny. She would be his predecessor. I would think that Umar Johnson would actually be bringing her on tours with him, setting her up to continue on with his legacy. And unless he just don't want to because she's a female. I'll say it again. Sorry, y'all, those are my shutters over there. Let me go ahead and shut them.
Wait, are those? I feel like those are Umar ancestors. You know how Umar said, "I never hit no woman. I ain't never hit no woman." You can ask my ancestors. Those are the ancestors coming. Pause until the lights go up, extracting from you. You all like the video, please. It is very helpful. I'm on a mission to grow my YouTube channel and like really invest in YouTube and like, you know. Like the video, please. Thank you. I would greatly appreciate it if you could like the video. For those of you who put me on your big screen, I understand. Thank you. Hey, family. Can you pull your phone up and just like it? I know that like I'm on the big screen, like, oh, but like, okay. By the way, I haven't slept in like a long time, and so this is why I am the way I am right now. I might make this members only. I won't.
So that they're not flying open, and we'll get back to it. Hold on, y'all. Because absolutely not. This issue that notably and documentedly is causing a lot of problems in the community. We can do that, but we won't be able to solve the problem. We will not be able to solve the problem unless we first acknowledge who is perpetuating it. Now, I already know, and many of you already know, that there is no external war being waged against Black men. They failed to substantiate that. But what I believe is that Black men are actually waging a war. They are actually waging the war. I want to play you a clip from what I said on this very show in terms of whether there's a war being waged against Black men. See, because I'm willing to tell the truth. I'm willing to acknowledge the issues in our community.
I thought you were blocked. I thought you were blocked. Ancestors will abandon children in life, but not in death. Period. And what of it?
Yes, we do have systemic racism to atone with, but is it causing all of the problems? No. It's not causing all of the problems. Black men are causing the vast majority of the problems in the Black community, and we fail to acknowledge that. So I want to play for you guys what I said here, because this is my stance, and it will continue to be my stance. No one is putting Black men out of their homes. We already called welfare. Welfare has denied these allegations.
Tell me why she gonna say we already called welfare and welfare denied these accusations. You want to know what's wild? She actually did call welfare. She called the welfare line in different states to ask him what was the method of extraction. We're removing Black men from the home. That is wild. I hate to find them clips that she did. That is wild.
Let's continue.
Families, that is on Black men. Nobody's forcing Black men to walk away from their children. Nobody's forcing Black men to murder Black women every 5.5 hours. Nobody's forcing Black men to abandon their children, publicly display how they don't like or care about their children. No one's forcing Black men to do anything. And I think it's a great disservice to pretend that someone is forcing Black men to do things rather than to put the...
Oh no, she did. Oh, she sure did. She sure did. She sure did. She was like, can you put my Black man back in the home? She said if you haven't seen that, you need to go watch her channel, girl. I don't know if she has it publicly.
the accountability where it needs to be, which is Black men. If they have an issue with the system, they should have addressed it a long time ago. You don't get to complain that you don't have any power in a system that you didn't fight to have power in. You fought for assimilation. You did not fight for equality. That is on you. I think we're making excuses at this point.
We are absolutely making excuses at this point. At this point, we really are making excuses. We're making excuses. There isn't one single person taking Black men out of the home. But this is Black men's excuse, and this is why the absenteeism continue. This is why generation after generation of Black women suffer the same fate as the women before them, and this fate is being trapped in the oppression of single motherhood. Single motherhood is oppression, and it is purposeful oppression that Black men are subjecting Black women to. They have a history of doing this, and they're still doing it because it's easy to walk out on your family. It's easy to walk out on some children than it is to engage in the burden, the responsibility of raising them. It's difficult to raise children. And instead of Black men just admit that, one, we're too immature to be fathers. Number two, it's difficult being a father. Number three, we don't even know how to be a father because we've never had a father. Even growing up ourselves, we didn't even have our fathers. There is a generational cycle being perpetuated here. And rather than help to break that cycle, rather than help to actually create stable Black families, rather than actually work towards doing the right thing in the community, being different than the status quo, taking another road, Umar Johnson has decided to engage in the exact same behavior and pretend as if he's not doing it. And what he does is he will wrap it in calling you queens. He will wrap it in appearing to uplift you, but in reality, all he's doing is grooming you seemingly to be another baby mama, possibly of his. Because again, he stands on the business before backshots principle. That's the one he stands on. Business before backshots. He said it out of his own mouth, apparently. But what Umar Johnson will do is he will blame Black women. He'll blame Black women. He has blamed Black women for a number of different things, and that's because he does not like Black women. I don't think he likes Black women. And I think this largely accounts for why it was so easy for him to abandon his daughter and really, quite frankly, pretend that he doesn't even have one. Because the only thing that Umar Johnson really cares about as it pertains to Black women is their willingness to line his pockets. It is Black women's unwillingness to hold Umar accountable to creating the school that it's taken, it seems like, going on upwards of 20 years for him to complete. And he still has not successfully completed this damn school, y'all. He had it.
This is also important, agreed. But even on the foxhole, and I do think in places where Dr. Umar says out of his own mouth that the greatest non-white contributor to white supremacy is Black women. Dr. Umar actually says this. And after he said that, Black women still supported him. And that's where I bowed out of the Dr. Umar conversation. I have nothing to give. I have nothing more to offer in that conversation. If a man who Black women support can say Black women are the biggest contributor, non-white contributor to white supremacy, and Black women continue to support him. Like, for me, like, what do I say? Like, I ain't got nothing to do with me. Like, I feel like at that point I have to bow out. And he did say that out of his own mouth. There is no allegedly at all. He said that. Umar said they should have moved him in and see about that marriage later. Right, hurry up and eat. Someone said he is the homeless prophet, the traveling prophet. Period.
School still ain't being built. Black women are still throwing money at him to build a school, though. That is what Umar Johnson likes about you as a Black woman. The same thing that most Black men like about Black women, the ease at which they can use and exploit them. Because what Black women are not going to do is ask Black men to prove anything, ask them to be accountable for anything. We'll listen to what Black men say as if it's gospel. That's how we got here with Umar Johnson being worshipped the way that he is being worshipped. If this man is running around calling himself the Messiah, calling himself the chosen one, then he is doing so because that is the pedestal that the Black community set him on. And when I say the Black community, I mean Black women. And we already know this is something that we have done as Black women. As Black women, we accept Black men who get in front of a camera and get in front of a microphone and spew out lies. We accept the lies because they are coming out of the mouths of Black men. Have Umar Johnson fed us 100% lies? No, but that's what's so insidious about deception. Because in order to effectively deceive, you have to tell the truth. Yes, you're going to mix it with lies. It can be half truth, but it's truth nonetheless. It is the truth nonetheless. That is why deception works so well. It's because part of it is the truth. So when Umar Johnson talks about issues in the Black community, is he lying about those issues? No, he's not lying, because those are real issues. It is a real issue that Black men are waging a war of femicide against Black women.
Just Ashar, thank you for being a member for 15 months. I would have actually liked to see Dr. Umar and Sin debate, for real, and not the foxhole debate that wasn't really a debate, and them engaging. My goodness, today on Sunday theme is Sin finna eat him up. Because she eating right now. I think Dr. Umar deserves every bit of drag that he is getting. All of it. I think that when you reject your child, when you contribute to a problem that you point out, your hypocrisy should be on full display and you should be dragged for it. That is absolutely abhorrent. Separate from that is, I think Dr. Umar recognizes, and this might be a bigger issue for me, that a lot of people don't care. And I will have forever, I think, a bad taste in my mouth if he continues to get support. The reason being is, and I'm not saying Dr. Umar doesn't deserve people following him or whatever, I'm saying you don't hold him accountable for the school. You don't hold him accountable for your money that you give to him. You don't hold him accountable for him disrespecting you all. And then you aren't going to hold him accountable for like him abandoning his child. Like, so anything goes. It's not like one thing or two things, it's like multiple things. And then he comes out and calls his child a cloud chaser, and he still has the Black community support. That's weird. That is weird. And I don't think that's just an L for Dr. Umar. That's an L for all of his followers. Like all of them, everyone. Like that's weird. You don't do that. Thank you, Banji.
It is the truth that the community is plagued with violence. It is the truth that we are dealing with systemic racism. It is the truth. That 100% is the truth. The lie is that it's impeding our ability to transcend the problems of the community. That's not what's impeding our ability. What's impeding our ability to transcend the issues in the Black community is our unwillingness to tell the truth. It's our unwillingness to stand on the side of what's right rather than standing on the side of a public figure that we worship. That's the problem. The problem is, if we like someone, if we've elevated them to a pedestal, we will let them stay there no matter how much or how undeserving they are. We seek to keep them on the pedestal, even though we know they're not living in accordance to, we know that they're not living in accordance to what they talk about. We know that. Even when we know that they've engaged in deplorable actions, we still keep them on the pedestal that we put them on. We still do this. We still do it. What we have failed to realize.
Wait, did you just come up with that? I don't have merch, probably won't have merch, but like, well, this year at least. If I were making merch, this would have been a merch immediately. Absenteeism is nasty, 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 and diabolical work. That is wild. How do you sit there and make this stuff up? Absenteeism. Period. If I would, I would. You ate that. Like, if you made that up, if you like legit just like made that up, you ate that. I want it on a shirt. He could be in jail and still have supporters, unfortunately.
Or that we're ignoring, we don't want to realize, we don't want to understand, we ain't gonna understand, is that the truth really will set us free. And the truth is that more so than the system, Black men specifically are waging a war on the Black community. And what they are doing, while they simultaneously wage this war on the Black community, they're blaming Black women. And one of the things that Umar Johnson did is sit up here and blame Black women for the condition of the Black community, because he doesn't really like Black women, but he understands that if he just calls Black women queens, then he can say whatever derogatory statements about them. He can uplift snow bunnies. He can switch up his narrative all he wants to, but he's still calling you queens. So let's go over yet another contradictory moment of Umar Johnson as he blames Black women, not the system, for the issues in the community on the same panel that he blamed the system. Let's listen to it.
Well, I do not endorse any kind of a second-class citizenship role for Black women. I believe Black women have as much to offer as do Black men, so I'm not sure who the queen is referring to, because I am not a misogynist and I do not support that type of narrative that said the Black woman's position is only to have children and to prepare food. But at the same time, I think Black women have to look at themselves, because although white supremacy has been the greatest enemy of the progress of Black men, you would also have to argue that Black women have probably been the greatest accomplice to supporting the white power structure in the destruction of Black males.
No, I can't say that. That's wrong. Let me reframe. If you're a Black woman still supporting Dr. Nope, ain't gonna do it. Do what you want. It's your life.
The conversation we're having right now, where two intelligent Black women have yet to, not sure who the queen is referring to, because I am not a misogynist and I do not support that type of narrative that said the Black woman's position is only to have children and to prepare food. But at the same time, I think Black women have to look at themselves, because although white supremacy has been the greatest enemy of the progress of Black men, you would also have to argue that Black women have probably been the greatest accomplice to supporting the white power structure to have children and to prepare food. But at the same time,
So when we come back,
structure in their destruction.
So
look at themselves, because although white supremacy has been the greatest enemy of the progress of Black men, you would also have to argue that Black women have probably been the greatest accomplice to supporting the white power structure in their destruction of Black males, i.e. the conversation we're having right.
So
that is a wild thing to say. That is a wild thing to say. Umar's greatest, unless he is white supremacy, his greatest contributors are Black women. Like when I was donating to Dr. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. When I was a young themelet in undergrad, and I was like, yay, Dr. Umar, we're going to do well. Black people coming together. Let's help Black boys. Let's help Black people. Yay, we. When I was doing that, the people around me weren't Black men. Black women were the biggest supporters. They still are the biggest supporters of Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar in Atlanta did a workshop on how to raise Black sons, or so, I forgot the name of it. It was about Black sons and raising them. Funny enough, he's always doing seminars on like your children and how to raise them when he don't know how to raise his own children. But anyway, I am there. Well, I'm not in there. I'm like walking through. It's all women. All women. All women. Everything Dr. Umar did was all women. Dr. Umar could not find Black men to put in his HVAC system or whatever at his school. He said he had to go to white men to put it in, but I don't actually believe he had to go to anyone, because school still hasn't been up yet, right? Ain't no school. So it is weird for me to hear this man, where his greatest supporters are Black women, to drag Black women to their faces and still maintain their support. That to me is insanity. Theme Tavias, period. Yeah, ain't never getting that school. He'll get things visa now, period. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that so much. Umar is a hustler, and blaming Black women is the business model for online charlatans. It was bound to happen, but it has been happening. And that's the part that, like, I do get people like, Black women, you're triggered. Why can't you? It is my preference when I'm talking about women I like, and then I'm trashing Black women, and there are Black women who believe, oh, if I say I'm going to leave this content creator alone or this person alone who is outwardly disrespecting my image, that makes me a bad person somehow. And I don't know why you would internalize that message. Does it make you a bad person? No. But even if it does, you're going to protect your image. Like, anybody got time for you to sit around there? Not you generally. I'm talking the you specifically in the people who feel it. Why would you? I promise you this. I'm not about to go listen to anyone disrespect me and my image. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm just going to move on. Like, you don't have to. If you feel the moral impulse, if you feel the inclination towards leaving because you feel disrespected, leave. Like, what do you mean? What's his name? The famous basketball player, don't matter. He said, I love Black women. And if you look in his comments, there were all kinds of women, white women, Asian women, all up in there like, we are all so beautiful. Everyone attempts to protect their image. Now, do people go too far? Yes. You are not to be blamed. I don't think it's wrong to divest from those who don't have your best interests at heart. Dr. Umar explicitly saying that you are the greatest contributor to white supremacy, i.e., non-white contributor to white supremacy. You should feel some kind of way about that. What do you mean? You should feel some kind of way about that. Umar said, I want to talk about raising boys because I refuse to raise these two girls I've fathered. You want to know something? You want to know something in all fairness? In all fairness, curry up and eat. In all fairness, I have never, and I'm not saying he hasn't, I've never actually heard him do a seminar or like he will kind of shoehorn girls into the conversation. Like, even with the school, he's like, I'm going to build a school for boys and then maybe I'll have another one for girls, right? But he will shoehorn like women in here and there. But I don't think I've ever heard a seminar. Is it bad that I used to listen to Dr. Umar seminar? I feel like I have failed. I feel like I have failed. You was dumb bad. I was no, I wanted I I've always wanted this idea of, this Wakandan ideal, and the fact that we were kings and queens. Like, there was something about that gave me a ton of pride in undergrad when I was around a lot of white people, like all white people. And so like the enclave of like Black students who came together, and we did the Caribbean Student Association, Black Student Association, and there was a real sense of community. And when the Hoteps came forward and started telling us to be prideful, because like I would be doing, like I was doing really, really well in school, right? And then there were like white people who are like talking about affirmative action and how some people don't deserve to be in certain spaces, but I was doing better than all of them. And I don't know why that affected me negatively in undergrad. But it was nice to be in a community where we are kings and queens. So I would walk in class with I don't know, a sense of purpose, and like, I just loved the feeling. I love the feeling of being a hotep. And so I don't know, like I just wanted that vision. I wanted it to be true. And then you start seeing the Hotep men just like abusing women, using women, sleeping around, don't have any real values, not planning to get a job. They're telling you the system is bad. And you're like, yes, the system is bad. And they decide, I'm not going to participate. And you're like, wait, so how are you going to live? And then you find out they have multiple girlfriends and the girlfriends are subsidizing their life. And you're like, wait. What is this? This is not we was kings. This is not the king. Like this is not the kingdom that I so the whole step for me was like a year of my life. Umar said, oh, I read that. I appreciate that. You were just a little themelet. Yes, I was a little themelet. I forgive myself. My newest theory of Black men reality is above them, so they will wallow in their imagination. Oh, hey, Finn. Thank you so much for allowing me to review this. I appreciate that. Oh, hey, FD, how are you? You got caught up in the same stuff a lot of folks did. I was caught up in it. You couldn't tell me that we weren't building Wakanda and I wasn't donating money and I wasn't donating money to Dr. Umar for a school that never existed. To be fair, I don't think I donated over $500 and it was never my money. It was my mom's money. So period.
So Umar Johnson can say that Black women are the greatest accomplice to white supremacy's war against Black men because we're talking about the problems that Black men actually perpetuate. But he does not see himself as part of the problem, even though he's perpetuating a cycle of absentee fatherism in the Black community that 100% aids in the white supremacist power structure or any war that they would have waged against Black men. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. So does it surprise me that now we're dealing with Umar Johnson, who Umar Johnson himself actually stated out of his own mouth that he wasn't there for his daughter. Yet a lot of people seem to want to have a certain opinion here, bring up conspiracy theories, talk about clout chasing, talk about CIA plots, even though Umar Johnson said out of his own mouth that he wasn't there for his daughter. Let's listen to it.
I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. You feel me? If you can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter.
Your $500 went to his back child support. You helped a Black woman. Girl, I saw Dr. Umar in a casino talking about he's gambling to raise money. And I was like, whoops. Yeah. Dr. Umar said he was not there for his Black daughter. He was not there for his daughter. So for me, it is wild for him to come out and pretend like he was there. And like everyone is lying on him. No one is lying on you, sir.
And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter. 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 I wasn't there for my daughter.
This is petty. This is so petty.
I wasn't there for my daughter. I wasn't there for my daughter. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter. I wasn't there for my daughter. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter.
Does anybody know who took Umar Johnson out of the home? I need to know. I have to know. I have to know. I just want to know who extracted this man from his home, because surely someone has done it. Surely someone has done it. Now, the reason I had to play that on the loop like that, because no accountability is being given to this man who literally predicted that he would be exposed because he wasn't here for his daughter. And then he gets to come out and try to bully said daughter, and the Black community just doesn't care. The Black community joins him in trying to bully a daughter that he said that he wasn't there for. That's what we doing?
I wasn't there for my daughter. And I wasn't there for my daughter. 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 And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may...
Can you believe in the Son Sin podcast that the daughter is going to come to exploit? Well. No.
She may expose me on one of these podcasts one day. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman.
I just want y'all to understand that. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I know I look like I'm about to laugh, but the only reason why it's humor is I don't understand this. Like, y'all, I don't understand. How do you say this?
I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day.
How do you go from saying this in a video to now someone's clout chasing you, to now they done used we don't know who to get to you? How do you go from that? I honestly, I don't understand. I don't understand. I need somebody to like make this make sense for me. You made a prediction. You said that you weren't there for your daughter. But now you're bringing up a CIA conspiracy theory against the chosen one that you call yourself. Now you feel as though you can lump this on a CIA conspiracy theory when you've already came out and predicted this, knowing that you had already said.
I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman. I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good Black love because you never validated me as a woman.
I need to understand it. That all I'm just trying to say is somebody make it make sense to me. Anybody make it. I need to know that, like, I'm not understanding. I don't understand it. I don't. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out what we got going on here. Why do we have a man who has predicted that he will be exposed now coming out saying that someone is clout chasing him after a money grab, CIA conspiracy, they trying to bring down the chosen one? We shouldn't be hearing anything but accountability as far as I'm concerned. We should not hear anything but accountability. Why is Umar Johnson not taking the accountability that he says that Black women run from? Because it's really easy for people to say, well, you know, Black women don't want to take accountability for anything. Okay, that's fine. Nobody really wants to take accountability. Humans don't want to take accountability because at the end of the day, accountability means you are wrong. So no one wants to take accountability. Umar Johnson being one of them who wants to run from accountability. He doesn't want to have to tell you why he sat up here and pretended to be about Black families, but created a broken one. He doesn't want to tell you why, when he had the opportunity to stand on business and create a functional Black family, he instead chose to create a broken one. No one told Umar Johnson that he could not marry the woman that he impregnated. No one said that to him. And if you deemed her to be unworthy of marriage after you impregnated her, that doesn't speak to her as a woman. It speaks to your ability to have discernment over what is a woman worthy of you marrying versus one that you deem to only be worthy of single motherhood, which is what you bestowed on this woman. Umar Johnson don't want to tell you. He doesn't want to have to tell you why he engaged in this behavior. He doesn't want to. So instead, he continues to pass the blame. He continues to try to control a narrative based on lies rather than just coming out and saying, hey, I made a mistake. And I told y'all whenever the date of that video was, I made a mistake. I had already confessed to y'all.
I wasn't there for my daughter. And she
I actually think this is important. I don't know if I would have much to say. I mean, he would get dragged. Let's be very clear. Regardless of what he did, he would have gotten dragged. My other video dragging him would have existed, but it wouldn't have existed in the same way. Because you say you weren't there for your daughter and she might come out and expose you, I would assume that in that realization, you went back to your child and attempted to facilitate some kind of communication or working relationship, not working as in we work together, but relationship that works with your grown daughter at the time you made the statement, right? But it would have been better if you, when the daughter came out, you also own the fact that your daughter is hurt by your absence and that you now, right, well, you are going to do the right thing by your daughter. You're going to do this privately. You coming out publicly, making up stories, dragging her, disrespecting her mother, disrespecting her stepfather who raised her when you weren't there is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I do actually believe Dr. Umar should be dragged. I don't think this should be the end of this. I think he should continuously be dragged until he comes out and apologizes to that young lady. You're gonna get dragged. Demas, why do Black women constantly complain about Black men instead of leaving them behind? It doesn't make sense to complain about men that don't even want Black women. Just stop dating them. I don't know what the answer to this is, but there are a couple of things. I think that when they say Black men, my understanding is that they're saying some, not all, maybe most, majority, a critical mass. I don't know what the number is. So that's the first answer, the first bucket. The second is a lot of Black people live in proximity with each other, and we tend to mate the people who are closest to us, whether that be at the job, where we live, at school. And so saying I'm not going to date might be easier than saying I'm not going to date the people who I have access to. And I do think attraction is complicated. I also think that it's natural. I believe it's natural to want people who look like you, share similar characteristics and the experiences, people who understand you. I think it is easier to fall victim to a kind of willingness to be to maintain an in-group identity. I think that's I think what's odd is where people from a specific group say that they don't want to date anyone in that group. Actually, I think that is odd. But I don't have the answer. Those are just random theories I made up based on my engagement, but I don't know what the answer actually is. But thank you, though. I appreciate that. Dr. Umar said, leave before license, move in before marriage, provision before parenting. This man wants to be kept, period. And he's no different than a lot of them.
may expose me on one of these podcasts where I wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts where
Why can't you just come out and lead with this, Umar? Why wouldn't he just come out and lead with this video and say, hey, I've already came out and told y'all that I have a daughter that I was not there for? Now, as you know, Umar Johnson has been exposed by his daughter. Her name is Anisa. And she is going to come here and tell her side of the story, because right now, rather than just admit, apologize, and repair and work on a relationship, Umar just wants to bully her. Like, this is his response to her. His response is to bully her. His response is to call his daughter a clout chaser. His response is to say his daughter is there for a money grab as if he does not owe her money. Even if she's there for a money grab, that's what you owe her. You don't get to create a child and then not provide for said child and then sit up here and say that your child is after a money grab. I'm trying to figure out what type of psychologist does that.
Wait, that was just the warm up. Yes, that was just the warm up. That was the intro. That was the intro. A drag well deserved. A drag well deserved by Dr. Umar. And I do actually think she was holding back. And I think out of respect for Anisa.
This is a psychologist here who's mishandling his own daughter. Because we can completely just skip past entirely Umar's race. We can discard his race. Let's talk about his profession. He said he's a psychologist. He works primarily with children. This is no way that you would handle anybody's child, let alone your own, and one that you admitted to not even being there for. I'm not here to check to see whether somebody has degrees or not. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not, whether Umar Johnson actually has a degree is not for me to look into because I'm not trying to employ Umar. So
he knows enough people don't care. That is the problem. Like this, I believe this, I mean, it's doing really well, but I do think it should have got, like, Dr. Umar, for better or worse, is a preeminent figure in the Black. Ew. That sentence coming out of my mouth is actually quite disgusting. It is true. Like, Dr. Umar is very well known and I'm guessing still liked in the Black community. And for something this big to be happening and for people to sort of use this, like the men that I've seen who are against Dr. Umar, they're not against Dr. Umar for stepping away from his responsibility. They're against him because they want to drag him because they believe that he was somehow defending Black women, right? Which Dr. Umar, in my opinion, has never defended Black women. And so it is weird that the people who are dragging Dr. Umar aren't actually talking about the fact that he's an absentee father and he should be there for his child. That is not the conversation happening. The conversation happening is, haha, in your face, Black women, you thought he was there for you, but he's a liar. Not, this man is not taking care of his children. And that for me is kind of frightening. So that's on one hand. On the other, women are actually sitting up there talking about no one is perfect. I don't wanna do this because, like, it's been on my heart and my soul for a while now, but I don't think it's real. I think Black women the image has been disparaged publicly, and I think that it's not right for me to engage in like broad discussions because so many people have been disrespecting Black women. And so I will never add to that ever. I will just make a footnote here and say, it is wild to me that Black women, I say Black women because he is not, Black men don't support Dr. Umar. As a general matter, I think Black men look at Dr. Umar as a joke. I think the only people who take Dr. Umar seriously are Black women. And I don't know the numbers, but like when I see women after women in the Shade Room post and women after women on TikTok coming up on Level Up Single Mom channel and defending him, it's like, what do you mean? When you say no one is perfect, it's like, oh, I told a lie, or I don't know, randomly did something that I wasn't supposed to do. Not, I abandoned my children. That's not like a mistake. That's intentional. When someone go out and cheat, that is not a mistake. That is intentional. So it doesn't make sense to me when I'm seeing, like, there is no argument on behalf of Dr. Umar. None. Zero. There is no argument. Dr. Umar confessed publicly that he wasn't there for his daughter and his daughter was going to come out and expose him because he was not there. Dr. Umar explicitly says this. Do not sit there and make up some dusty story about why he wasn't there and the mom did this. No, Dr. Umar is dusty, disgusting, degenerate. He's the one who didn't show up. And he told y'all he didn't show up. And after he told y'all he didn't show up, which means he know he didn't show up, he didn't then later showed up. He does not show up. He did not show up by his admission. There is no reason to be dissecting her words, seeing if they're consistent. None of that is important. If she's lying, Dr. Umar has the burden of proof because what we do know is what she's saying is consistent with what he said. Why are we questioning this? If he hadn't said this, then maybe you would have an argument, but he admitted it. There's no reason for any woman to be online defending Dr. Umar. None. There is no reason. None whatsoever. He admitted it. He admitted it. He's a trash father. He admitted it. What is your problem? Why are you up there? That don't make sense. He admitted it. I was told a story last night about Mendice's wife, I forgot her name, not important, where she just sat up there and made up a whole reality in her head while her man is cheating on her so that she can continue to live a dusty fantasy. And that's what it looks like these people are doing. You're not about to do it here. You're going to feel it and feel uncomfortable because you are lying. It's not real. Get out of the fantasy. What's his name? Umar is not about to lead you to your Wakanda. It don't exist. He's taking your money. I know it's easier to fool people than to tell them that they've been fooled. You've been fooled. You've been fooled. Hang it up. Flat screen. The sunk cost fallacy doesn't work here. You lost the money. Go sue him for it. I don't know what you need to do about it, but hang it up. Drop it off. It's not good. It's not useful. Throw it out. Again, no, that don't make no sense. Yeah. Oh my God, no one is perfect. Yeah, you say that when people make actual mistakes, not when people are robbing you blind, not when people are abandoning their children, not when people are impregnated a bunch of women and then leaving them. You don't do that. Ew. I was holding back. I wasn't going to have Anisa on and then disrespect her father. I figured. Mona gifted membership. Thank you, Mona. I appreciate that. Thank you. 2 L's. When he has the community cared about children, when has the community cared about children? There is no respect of their personhood. There is a celebration of how you were disciplined as a child. Yeah, the thing is, this annoys me because I can't relate. And this is like actually true. The way that my mom and dad loves me, I know it. Even if they failed at something, I don't know what, I know they love me. So like my first 2 years, I feel like I was always in a constant fight with the chat because I was like, respect your parent. How could you not respect your parent? Because I have a very specific image in my mind of what parenting is. And like, I don't even use the word good. For the debate, I did use the word good. So I can't even imagine like fully, like in my real life, I can't think of like, wait, what do you mean? Your child is a cloud chaser. That is my name now. You're my father. That is my name. I get to chase. What do you mean? Like, yes. Sin says, Umar also knows that the community doesn't care about Black females. They would likely care more if any. So, yeah, I actually think so too. I think so. And I think he might care more too about his daughter if it wasn't a daughter. I find it hypocritical to complain about Black men at the same time make an excuse to be with them. The men in the community are making excuses to leave Black. The women in the community are making excuses to not leave Black men. I think that you and I have a fundamental disagreement. I think if I'm understanding your comment correctly, it feels like the blame of Black women's experience is being put on Black women, even though Black men are the one causing the harm. And I think there is I'm going to call it again a moral instinct about doing the right thing, protecting people, and having grown up in a community that prioritizes Black men and Black male comfort. I think that it is very difficult to wean oneself off of thinking that you're supposed to be a sacrificial lamb, right? Religiously, if you're Christian, there's this idea of sacrifice and sacrifice being virtuous, right? And the woman needing to sacrifice. There are also stories we tell ourselves about women taming men and taming the beast or whatever. And then there is the real experience of both Black men and Black women that is very unique, um, and creates a sense of camaraderie. I'm not saying they should not date out or they should not do what they're doing. I think that what you're doing, though, when you're sending these super chats, which fully, if you want to engage in the discourse, I'm okay with it. But it feels like instead of acknowledging the pain, you are saying the thing you need to do about it is leave Black men alone and not be with them. And I don't know that I will ever be a supporter of divestment completely. If you want to date who you want to date who you want to date, and figure it out. I'm not a proponent of telling Black women or any woman or man who they should and should not date. I am not doing that ever. I don't give dating advice. My dating life is not great because I cut people off immediately. But I'm not. No, I'm not telling anyone who to date. But if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I have nothing else.
Whether he has a degree or a license, that would be for y'all to check if y'all are the ones who are donating to him, who believes in his practice, and who thinks that he's going to uplift the Black community. It's for y'all to check his qualifications. But I think if y'all were concerned about him being qualified, that should have been asked way before you sent the money. Like I wouldn't be, and I'm not saying that you offered this person money. I'm not saying that you offered this that you sent money to Umar. You may not have. But if I was going to donate to him under the premise that he, as a school psychologist or a former school psychologist, was going to build a school for Black children, but then it ain't for Black children. It's for Black boys. Because I thought Umar Johnson said his school was for Black boys. I don't think Black girls were a part of the school. I don't know. Y'all let me know. But I don't think the chosen one was making a school that was going to have Black daughters in it. I don't think they were. But if I was going to contribute, then I would probably be checking his credentials before. Maxine, you said big back pineapple head. I mean, listen, jokes aside, this is actually like a huge issue in the Black community. Jokes aside. Anisa is here. She is just running a little bit late. And as soon as she gets here, then she will be up here to tell her side because she is here to do so. The Black woman, I don't know who that is. Umar, the modern day Robin Hood. He steals Black women's donations in order to fight supremacy. Let's just be real that there isn't really a Black man in the community trying to fight against any form of supremacy. They would be perpetuating it first. They would end up perpetuating it first, likely.
Modern day Robin Hood is nasty work. I also disagree with this statement. Also, I do think I have met Black men who have have they been effective? We have Trump. I don't think they have been effective, but I don't think we have been effective. So maybe our ineffectiveness is what is being called out, not the attempt. So, but I've met people, men in particular, who have dedicated their life to quote unquote fighting the system and given up lucrative careers in an effort to do so. Come in line with lucrative careers. And having to defend themselves every day at work for things they see online.
no credentials in the world could convince me to hand him nothing. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that if people were going to donate to him, they should have made sure there was a way to hold him accountable to what was being donated. That's actually what I think.
Agreed. And I
Because
failed.
I wouldn't just send out loads of money to someone saying that they're building a school and then they never actually build a school. Like I wouldn't, that wouldn't be anything.
Okay, I feel personally attacked. I feel because I sure did send Dr. Umar money without knowing what, without checking his credential or if there was look, I feel like I'll chuck that up to my Hotep era. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. But I was caught up. My bad sin. I failed. I know. But I was caught up in Dr. Umar trying to build a school. No. You ain't wrong. But I didn't know you don't. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. I was a child. I was a whippersnapper. What's it called? A whipper. What do you call it? A whippersnapper? I was young in undergrad, and I thought we were gonna get our Wakandan utopia. So, but I dragged myself. I dragged myself for it every single time. Yes, yeah, yeah.
That I would do. It wouldn't be. Hey, Anisa, are you there? Okay, I'll give her some time to maybe connect to the audio and then we'll start. But yeah, I would not give my money out, and I haven't checked to see if someone was actually going to do what they were saying that they were going to do. Someone should, like, there should have been a group of people to track the progress of this and bring some accountability to this. There should have been.
No. All right. No. I'm done getting dragged. I truly agree with Finn. Fully agree. However, I was an immigrant. And when I came to America, I thought that Americans couldn't do what like scammers in Jamaica did. I thought because of the legal structure, this is prior to any school or anything, I just assume that if someone is online telling you to donate, then they must have been vetted by the US government. I thought so. In my defense, I was clicking every single pop-up that said that I won a trip on a boat, or like I was clicking I'm pretty sure all of my mom's computer had a bunch of virus when I came to America. Because I would be like, oh, they said I got, a pop-up. All right, I got, so, and then I would be writing all the things down that I won when I was online. So I feel like I have an excuse. I was just an ignorant person. I was coming into America. Thinking that all is well and I could just trust everything and everyone. So Demas was caught up in the rapture of death. Demas drunk the cool. I'm being dead serious too. It looks like it thinks that JCK thinks that Black women saying out loud what we see and experience for the first time is bothersome. They are speaking publicly. The lessons will help the next generation of women and make it better, to help them make better decisions. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't even know what's happening. I do think that because we're in this community where we're sharing information, hopefully good information, I think we have a lot more access to information than a lot of people. I just assume no one in here supports Dr. Umar. I feel like that's a very good assumption. I feel period. Thank you, Curry Up and Eat. I appreciate you and I appreciate that. Well, if Black women don't want to leave Black men, then stop complaining at this point. Black women deserve everything that comes with Black men. Absolutely not. That is a wild thing to say. That is a wild thing to say. Even in terms of like an abusive relationship, you can't just say, stop complaining, don't talk about it, stay there. Like, they actually, wait, I am asking for grace, so I do think I have to give grace too. Here's something. I don't think, I don't think it is. Wait, someone said if that's a black man. I think I think that's a. I thought this was a black woman. It shouldn't matter. I'm gonna respond to this person with, however, it is weird to me that you are attempting to blame black women for their own pain, and they're not the one causing their own pain. That to me is very, very strange. And you have sent a lot of super chats, and I don't want you to like waste your money. So I will say this. If you have something to say and you want to say it, you have my blessings to come up and say it. Do not send more super chats because I don't want you to like spend your money and then feel terrible in my response. Let me know, drop a one, JCK, if you're in the chat and you want to come up to explain what it is that you're talking about. Drop a one and then I'll drop the link for you. Curry up and he says, it looks like JCK thinks that black women saying out loud what we see and experience for the first time is bothersome. They are speaking publicly. The lessons will help the next generation of women make better decisions. I agree. I agree. I think you should come up and let me know if you want to come up because that's wild to me. Again, the idea that other groups of men will save you is a problem for me. This is going to always be a problem for me. I think because I talk about black manhood because it's something that I'm like obviously a part of. Well, apparently I'm not a part of it, but it bothers me when people think that I only mean black men when I'm talking about an issue. Yes, it is disproportionately represented in black men. That is true statistically, right? But please note that if you ever in any way believe that I think that another group of men is about to save you, you have completely misunderstood my message. I don't give dating advice at all. But when I am talking about the relationship between men and women because something popped up on my timeline, the only thing you should know about my views on this is that women are independent, agentic beings that should not be relying on a man for sustenance. And if you do, and you are, I don't think less of you, I think you should find a way to make sure that you are good with or without a man. That is my whole theory. I don't care the man black, white, yeah, I don't care. But y'all don't come to me for dating advice. And rightfully so. Y'all should not be. If you take dating advice from me, it's gonna be a no, and I will deny ever giving you dating advice. It's not your fault. Umar is simply exploiting black people's hope, just like pastors do. Most black people want black utopia. Yeah, agreed. And I was a victim. I consider myself a victim. Thank you, Slyn. I appreciate you. I was in the super chat. Sorry, I wasn't following the live chat. Did JCK said they want to come up? No? Nope, I didn't see it. Themis was walking the Marcus Garvey blackity black scam just like black Americans. Hello. Most of us fell for it. You're part of the family for sure. Yes. Yeah. Girl, I bought into it. Thankfully, I didn't get the dashiki and any of that because I was still trying to Zip it and do it in fashion.
Been someone to do this. Hey, Anisa.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Can you see me?
No, it's just a black screen.
Okay.
I know sometimes StreamYards do get really glitchy, but we'll work with it.
Okay.
But in this time, if you want, while you work on getting yourself on camera, if you want to introduce yourself, you absolutely can. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. So definitely use it as you need to.
Hi.
This is actually so adorable to me. Sorry, this is so wild. Is Sin still here? I don't know if Sin is still here, but the voice change is wild. The voice change is wild. The approach to making sure someone here, like Anisa knows that you are there and like you. I like this, by the way. I actually really appreciate this. I appreciate that your intro where you're like dragging slightly didn't go over to the interview where you're like allowing, like, for me it sounds like you're allowing the space for her to talk. This is actually very not Cynthia DEI voice. It was, I like it. I think this was like masterfully done. This is like how you, I don't know, this is how you communicate with someone to like make sure they know that this is not like an antagonistic atmosphere. I don't know why I'm doing this, as if I know anything about voice change.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Anisa. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Philadelphia. And as far as a little bit about myself, I consider myself to be a content creator / comedian. I make content on Instagram and TikTok. Aside from that, I actually want to get into education. I'm working to become an RBT, which are people that work with kids that have autism. So I'm very excited about that. And I definitely look forward to going back to school. After graduating high school, I did attend Roxborough University. I'm sorry, I attended Temple University. Roxborough was the high school that I went to. I attended Temple for one semester. I went for film and media arts, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I did attend college during COVID, so I wasn't able to be on campus. So I did stop going to school, but I do plan on going back. So that's just a little about myself.
Yes. What made you want to do content? Because as a content creator, it's definitely it's a lot more to it than they try to let on.
Yeah, so it's funny. I've always had like a very vibrant personality. If you got to know me in person, you would probably say the same. Yeah, I don't know. I love being in front of the camera. It always came natural to me. I started YouTube at 13 years old. So I've always pretty much loved making videos and being in front of the camera. Like it always just came so natural to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good that you wanted to get into content. And I saw some of your other videos where you were trying to do content as well. And I actually think that's good. I definitely think that you have the personality for it. And I think that really, being that your father is who he is, you really, it shouldn't be an issue of someone's clout chasing, because I feel like we should know who you are. I feel like we should have been introduced to you a long time ago. And it's like I said before you came here, as far as I'm concerned, Umar should have been taking you on his speaking engagements with him to try and train you to be able to follow on his legacy, to follow through his legacy. But that wasn't an opportunity that was given to you. Instead, you were deprived of being able to be raised by your biological father. And now that you've come public, now you're being what I call bullied by your father. So I wanted to ask, how are you doing mentally? Because I know for me, that wouldn't be easy to deal with. Like it wouldn't be easy for me to deal with, regardless of whether he was there or not. This is your father. So how do you feel about everything that's going on?
All right, I'm gonna try not to stop it so often, but I even like that question coming in. I understand now what just happened, because in my head, this interview was going to blow up, but I think this is kind of where I stopped, so I don't know what's happening beyond this. And then I move to the end. I think the reason this isn't going to blow up is because it's such a good interview. It's not framed, it's not used to slight. It just seems like someone, one, checking in on someone else, and two, allowing them the space to tell their story. And I really like this. Actually, thus far, I actually really like this. I actually really appreciate this. In some CNN, the "were you silent or were you silenced" type interview. Oprah Winfrey, where you at? from pan-absenteeism to the arms of the family annihilators is insidious and desperate work, period.
I don't agree with the response that he gave to me, as well as the response that he gave to my mother. I don't know if you recall, but he said Mama Smurf and daughter Smurf. I don't really think that was appropriate. If anything, what I would have respected out of him is if he would have came to social media and said, you know what, I was not in your life, I wasn't present, but moving forward, I want to make a change, I want to make an adjustment. But instead, I feel like he probably did respond out of hurt, but at the same time, it's like, you're my dad, so I kind of expected more out of you. As far as mentally, I do have a great support system. I do take a step away from social media from time to time because it is a lot of negativity, it is a lot of bashing. And you can only do but so much. At the end of the day, I know who I am, and I have strong skin, thank God. Like, I've gone viral other times, so I kind of know how to handle it. But mentally, I just try to take a step away from it. I think that's good for everyone to just take a.
Wait, y'all don't know why he does the Smurf thing? I thought it was clear why he did the Smurf thing. It reduces and neutralizes the importance of what is being discussed. So when you add like a cartoon character or you make a joke, it diffuses the situation. Umar, don't know if he's actually a psychologist, but he does engage in psychology. Like I think he understands human psychology. And this is why when you dehumanize, not in the pejorative, but when you dehumanize and you allow for there to be a wall between that which we feel and the object of that feeling. That's why when he Papa Smurf, daughter Smurf, it becomes a joke, a cartoon in some ways, and it's not, it takes away from the sting. That's what he did. Yeah, no. He is very good at manipulation. He probably should write a book on manipulation, actually.
Step away, regroup, and yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because absentee fatherism, because I know you said you were raised by your stepfather, which is actually really good that you are actually able to have a stepfather. I don't know that many people do. I would suspect that they don't because of the dynamic in our community. If Black men don't even want to raise their own children, I'm not going to sit here and think that they're going to want to raise someone else's children. They're very adamant that they don't. So what do you think about the fact that you have this fatherless epidemic within the community that has literally been talked about by nearly every single agency in this country, starting from since Black people left the plantation? These things have been tracked. What do you think about the fact that your dad is one of the loudest voices actually against absentee fatherism? He stands very adamantly on Black men accountability and them needing to take accountability, them needing to be in the home. Like I said, when we were on the Foxhole, when we were on the Foxhole discussion, he said that single mother led homes were one of the biggest issues in the Black community, and it was the product of a war being waged on Black men. Yet this is a man who also chose to walk out on his family. Because I have two questions. Did your mother, or do you know, because his narrative is that your mother kept him away from you. This is the narrative in the community. So I first wanted to just ask, what, if anything, what do you know about why he wasn't in your life?
So, him and my mom used to co-parent in the very beginning, but after a while, he stopped picking me up. So my mom had to make police reports to document this to the courts.
Community that has literally been talked about by nearly every single agency in this country, starting from since Black people left the plantation. These things have been tracked. What do you think about the fact that your dad is one of the loudest voices actually against absentee fatherism? He stands very adamantly on Black men accountability and them needing to take accountability, them needing to be in the home. Like I said, when we were on the Foxhole, when we were on the Foxhole discussion, he said that single mother led homes were one of the biggest issues in the Black community, and it was the product of a war being waged on Black men. Yet this is a man who also chose to walk out on his family. Because I have two questions. Did your mother, or do you know, because his narrative is that your mother kept him away from you. This is the narrative in the community. So I first wanted to just ask, what, if anything, what do you know about why he wasn't in your life?
So, him and my mom used to co-parent in the very beginning, but after a while, he stopped picking me up. So my mom had to make police reports to document this to the courts so that they knew, hey, I came to this location. He was not there. I did my part. So, like I said, in the beginning, he was there, but then he stopped coming to get me. So my mom was pretty much the sole caretaker of me. What was the question again,
Cynthia? How old were you when he stopped visiting?
I was very young. If I had to take a guess, I want to say maybe like 10 or somewhere under there. I was very young.
Yeah, it sounds like around one of the most critical times in your life, because when you're 10, you're starting to go into the preteens, you're starting to understand and develop your own identity. So this was a very critical time, especially for girls when they get into the beginning stages of hitting puberty, needing to understand, I'm attracted to these males or even females over here. Nonetheless, sexual identity is developing. They need that guidance from their father. And it sounds like that was the primary time that he decided to leave. Given that he was there in a certain capacity when you were younger and then stopped, what was the impact when he stopped coming around? And what did you learn about why he stopped coming around?
So because I was so young, there was only so much I could do. When I was around my dad, he tried to tell me that my mom tried to keep me away from him, which was a lie. He also made another statement, not to go on a tangent, but he stated that the two mothers of his children wanted to marry him, which I don't know. My sister's
Okay,
brother.
hold on. We got to double back to two mothers.
Yes, he has two children.
Oh, okay, but two different women.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry, that threw me a little bit.
So he actually claimed that they wanted to marry him. My mother never wanted to marry him. I just wanted to make that clear. But yes, he tried to tell me that my mom tried to keep me away from him, which was a lie. He stopped coming to get me. So that was on him. They had a court order. He didn't follow it. And so that was pretty much the end of that. So he didn't hold up his responsibility. That was on him.
Why didn't he want to marry your mother? Because I would think that with this, because he's saying this too. Like, I don't know if you saw, I'll show you, because this is exactly what Umar is actually saying himself. He is going with the narrative that your mother kept him away from you, which is the narrative that Black men always resort to. It's the primary one. She kept me away from my kid. Okay, fine. Even with a court order, she's doing it, and you're doing nothing in response. So in this, he is saying that as well. He's saying that, and he actually comes down here specifically, and he said, Mama Smurf has been lying to Baby Smurf her entire life. I was excluded from your life despite multiple family court or shared custody orders because I didn't marry your mother. You will be with both of us or neither one of us. That is the whole truth, all of the truth, and nothing but the truth. So this was Umar's latest response. And he definitely is blaming your mother and outright saying actually that your mother, and because she was so bitter because he wouldn't marry her, she decided that she would violate multiple court orders and just keep him away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that post that we just went over?
Yes.
What do you think about him asserting that your mother and putting this out publicly after he got in the video and already admitted that he wasn't there for you?
So being that he's such a public figure, I think that he needs to be careful about the information that he's putting out, because for you to get on the internet and make lies and claims and allegations that are not true is kind of...
This, I thought, the one question I would have followed up here with is your stepdad going to sue? Or do your stepdad want to sue? Because I'm going to sue you. You're not about to sit up there and accuse me of abusing women and that you have proof of it if it's not true. You're getting sued. You're getting sued.
Kind of beyond me. I don't understand why my mom would want to marry a man that put his hands on her. He also claimed that I guess my stepfather was the one that put his hands on her, which that was never true. But he was domestic towards my mother, but my mom never wanted to marry him. That's a complete lie. I don't know about the other baby mom or whatever, but my mom never wanted to marry him ever. That's a lie.
Did he say why he wouldn't marry your mother? Because here's the thing. I would think as a man like Umar, I would think if he's parading around promoting Black queens, Black men should only be with Black women, we need to build stable Black families, the Black man needs to be the head of the home. It sounds like he had an opportunity to be that head of the home because he's acknowledging that your mother wanted to marry him. Okay, that's fine. From his perspective, your mother wanted to marry him, but he chose not to. He had an opportunity to create a stable Black family and he chose not to. Did he ever give you an explanation as to why he did not marry your mother?
No, because I was only in contact with him at such a young age, so I wouldn't even have been able to comprehend what was going on.
And your mother said she didn't want to marry him. So obviously she wouldn't. And of course, if he was abusive, you shouldn't marry your abuser. So abuse and not marrying, best decision she could have made. But I find it interesting that this man is talking about stable Black families, had multiple opportunities to create one, it sounds like. And each time he decided that he would just create a broken home, that he wouldn't raise his daughter, because he literally came out. And I don't know, did you see the video where he was admitting to, have you saw that video?
Admitting to what?
where he's admitting to not being there for you.
Yes.
So what do you think about his response, given that there's a video? There's a video of him basically predicting this. Then you come out and do what he's predicted.
So I actually would be very curious about this abuse bit, because this is not something like this. If we really wanted to, as a society, as a legal framework, this is not he said, she said anymore, right? It's not. This now can be proven, right? If the, for me, proven to some extent that I'm comfortable with. The statement Dr. Umar made, if false, could land him in a ton of trouble if the stepdad and the mom actually cared to engage. Not care generally, but care to engage with him. I can see a world where they're like, it's Dr. Umar doing a bunch of foolishness. I don't want to have to do this, right? But so that I believe the abuse bit is something that's provable, right? The second part, and the most important, that is super important, is it is wild to me that a father, that's why I have this comment up, is going to say, oh, the mom stopped me from being around my child, and then I just stopped trying. What? What? You believed your baby's mother, you believe your baby's mother, boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever it is threatening to abuse her and unalive her and your child. And you don't have a police report, you don't engage, you don't fight for your child and let it be known that this man is trying to unalive your child. This man is about to unalive or abuse, and before he does it, he messages this. Oh, absolutely not. You're also trash. Even if true, if you read Dr. Umar's statement and you're one of his disciples and followers and dusty people who believe in it, and you will say, you know what, I believe Dr. Umar. Believing Dr. Umar means he's also trash because he left his child and the mother of his child to be abused. That's what he did. If you believe what Dr. Umar said, he left his child and the mother of his child to be abused and potentially unalived. That's what he did based on what he's saying happened. That does not make sense.
And then in response to you doing what he predicted, he goes on a bullying media campaign, mishandling you completely because you are his child. So there's a way that a psychologist should be handling his own child. There's a way a decent man should be handling.
We're going to revisit the abuse allegation. Should definitely do that. I don't think Dr. Umar should be able to make those accusations without proving them, without engaging further. Dr. Umar would be one of the most degenerate people I know to let his daughter be abused or potentially abused because he said the stepfather threatened abuse. No. Papa Smurf, Gargamel took black men out of their home. They won't fight for their children, their child, but will put themselves in danger and climb through obstacles to get access to their preference. Priorities.
His own child, but he's mishandling you. Quite frankly, to me, putting your mother, dog whistling to put your mother in harm's way with this trope that, you know, she kept me away from this daughter, turned this daughter against me. Now this daughter is coming out exposing me. But he already predicted this. So what do you think about the fact that he has a video out here where he predicted this, but he is now calling you a clout chaser and putting your mother in harm's way in response to it?
I just think that it makes him appear more as a fraud and a hypocrite. You can't get on social media and say one thing, but you're doing the complete opposite. I will never take away from Dr. Umar's work. I think he's very smart, very intellectual. I think a lot of people would say the same. Very smart man. I've watched multiple interviews that he has done on The Breakfast Club and on other platforms. So I'll never take away from who he is and his work. But if I...
That is so sad. the detached way, she just referenced to her father speaks volume to the fact that they're not close at all. Like, there is no camaraderie. Like, the atmosphere is definitely not convivial. Like, it's just a wall there. That's sad. I would hate to be talking about my parents in this very absent way where they're so far. Like, you have harmed your child. When your child speaks this way about you, I think you've harmed you. You are the one who have harmed your child. You have. To be that detached is a parent problem. Someone said it'd be like that. It'd be like that is nasty word to what I just said. I just, it'd be like that is nasty work, Selena. I appreciate that.
Looked up to somebody who did,
Like, you can't even respond to it be like that. Yes, it be like that. I agree. I get it, and you're right. Perfectly said, actually. It be like that. Yeah. I like that.
a certain line of work, especially psychology, and they aren't in their own children's lives. It's kind of like, well, how are you advocating for this, but you're going completely against it? It doesn't make any sense. But I'll never take away from his work.
Yeah, this to me is just completely not the way. To be honest, I would have expected Umar to handle this situation differently. I would have expected him to pull it off of an online platform and do it behind closed doors. That's what I would have expected. Even given Umar's self-aggrandizement, even given his arrogance, because he did say he is a doctor of psychology who primarily works with children, I would have expected him not to bully his own.
Dr. Umar's work is doing y'all playing a lot. I feel like more and more this chat is morphing into my personality, and that's wild. Saying work is doing a lot of heavy lifting is nasty and diabolical work, and it is definitely something that I would say.
Own daughter publicly in response to this, because at the end of the day, he said he was not there for you. He said that you were going to expose him because he didn't pour into you the way that he was supposed to. So then to come and attack you in response to you doing what he predicted, to me is complete trash and is complete mishandling. And to me, it actually shows 100% his character. But the reality is the Black community doesn't hold Black men to any character standards. There's none, not even the ones we call leaders. So instead of the Black community rallying behind you and saying, Umar, this is your child. You've acknowledged this is your child. Take your family grievance off the internet and deal with it privately. But he chose not to do that. And instead have called you a clout chaser, and instead have decided to say that you are after a money grab. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. They're questioning your motives for exposing him and are saying things like, well, why did you wait until now?
Pause. If it's a money grab, it's a money grab. What about it? What about it? If you believe it's a money grab, does that change anything at all? No. So everyone want to make money off this woman's pain, and y'all are like, oh, she shouldn't. He wasn't there. What do you want from her? Like, I find this so annoying. Like, I find, oh, you just want to make money. Who don't? But is what I'm saying true? Okay, then, and go sit down. Yeah, he owes her financial support. It should be yeah. Like, what do you mean? How are you gonna be one of the biggest Black? Oh, that is so disgusting. To say that every time annoys me. How are you gonna be one of the biggest Black speakers now around, and your daughter isn't very well known? Someone who is like seemingly very well versed in terms of communication as a general matter. Your business is communication. Your business isn't psychology. Your business isn't building a school. Your business, Dr. Umar, is communication. Your daughter, it seems like, inherited your ability to communicate. You now need to foster that in her now. I would say hopefully towards a good end, right? Like a good end. But like his business is grifting. Y'all play too much. I ain't doing it with y'all. So now the children are gold digger. Apparently, thank you, Campari. But now kids are gold diggers. Yeah, now children are gold diggers. Campari has been a member for 9 months. I appreciate. Now children are gold diggers. Is that you that gold digger? Girl, that's wild. And sprinkle for the children. I wonder, is she hurt that her father is willing to teach other children first before her? Well, to be fair, he's not willing to teach anyone, including her. To be fair. to be fair. That's messed up. He would teach others before her. Again, to be fair, he ain't teaching nobody nothing. Thank you for being a member, Mr. Ree. I appreciate that for 36 months. I love that. Someone said dust digger.
Do you mind speaking a little bit about your motives for exposing him and why you came out now? Because apparently, whatever you said in the past, they missed that memo. I know what you said. I know what you said was the reason you came forward. It was very understandable to me. But people are still saying you're a clout chaser. You're hired by the CIA. Why now did you choose to expose him?
So the only reason why I brought it to social media was because I tried to reach out to him regarding my sister and he ignored me. I did make a video originally on TikTok and Instagram. My TikTok did get taken down, but in the video, I did state that I'm not trying to bash him and that the main motive and reason for me making that video was to try to find my sister, which I did. So I literally found her within a day. Her mother reached out to me and I am now in contact with her. So I did want a conversation out of him, which I did not get. I don't know if you guys recall, but me and him was supposed to meet up somewhere on Thursday to have a conversation, but that didn't happen because he continued to ignore me. So I just kind of let it go.
Wow. So your goal wasn't to come for a money grab, which, by the way, I'm gonna say this because it really needs to be said.
Oh, I have one more thing. If you're in the chat and you're in defense of Dr. Umar, drop a 1, please. Again, I don't expect none of that here because we're sensible. But if you are in defense of Dr. Umar, drop a 1. That's all I need. I need a 1 because I'm feeling froggy.
I don't think you can be a clout chaser of a man who has an obligation to you. There is no clout chasing of your father. So this is the immature stance to begin with.
Miss Fedier, are you being serious? If you drop a 1, I'm gonna drop a link. Let me know if you want to come up. Let me know if you want to come up. Because I don't like the one-sided foolishness. I want to hear someone who supports Dr. Umar. Because I'm curious as to why you still support Dr. Umar. Her having to make the disclaimer that she's not trying to bash the father who abandoned her and cause emotional harm is devilish work. It is. Because I would drag you night, day, evening. I would be dragging nonstop. It would be a drag. Like you, every time you breathe, I would be on your neck. What's Safari's ex-girlfriend name? What is Safari's ex-girlfriend, wife, or whatever her name is? Erica something. I would be like Erica. I would be like Erica Mena. You know how anytime Safari breathe wrong, Erica Mena is. Sorry, that's not funny. I'd be like Erica Mena. I would be like Erica Mena. Every time you breathe, I'll be there. Every time you think about breathing, I would be there.
This man, even though admitting that you're his daughter, even though he's blaming it on your mother, he's showing a detachment to you. He's showing literally a complete disregard. Why are you calling your daughter a clout chaser? Why are you saying she's after a money grab as if you don't have a financial obligation to your child? This is a man who neglected you for, it sounds like a 12-year span, because you said he stopped coming around when you were 10. So that would be 12 years. Then you would then be 22. So this man has completely chosen to make himself absent, a non-factor in your life for a span of 12 years, and then wants to call you a clout chaser as if he doesn't have an obligation to you to begin with. It's like, this is your obligation. When did you first learn that you had other sisters by Umar?
So my mom told me that the mother of my sister actually came to our old house, and I don't know why she was trying to get in contact with my mom, but that was when I had found out, like, oh wow, I have another sibling. And I have actually been told that he has 3 to 4 other children, but I'm not going to continue to say that because from my knowledge he only has another daughter. But yeah.
Wow. How did it make you feel when you get older, you learn that, okay, your father just decided he didn't want to?
I think this is kind of insane. And I will never get over it. I won't get over it because, like, for me, I won't tell my story because I ain't no story there to tell. But I think it is wild for your dad to come home and for you to, well, not even come home, for you to say, Daddy, how many brothers and sisters? Wait. I think that's insane. I think that's insane. I think it is insane to say how many kids do you, Papa, Pops, Poppy, Papa. How many brothers and sisters I got? That don't make sense. Let's not pretend like that's normal. It's not her fault, not anyone's fault. Like if my dad have a bunch of children, girl, I'm gonna drag him. It's not the children's fault and it's not my fault.
To come around at a critical point in time. And then you learn that he has multiple other children, because this is something that's actually going around now a lot. Like there's a lot of talk. He have 3 different baby mamas. Some people are saying he has 4 to 5 children. To me, all of that is alleged. We already know he has you because he admitted it. We know he has at least 2 because in that same video clip, he did acknowledge having a teenage daughter and one that he said is 22. So clearly he was talking about you. How does it make you feel when you learn that your father who abandoned you now has more children that he has robbed you of the ability to even grow up in proximity to because you had no knowledge of them?
So I'm not sure if he was in her life, but to my knowledge, I am the oldest. And it kind of sucks because it's like, okay, you didn't take care of me, but you could have at least been there for her because she's younger than me, you know? So it's honestly kind of disappointing, to say the least. Yeah.
I know I personally would be pissed off if it was me. I would go right off. I would 100 be pissed off, because here's the thing with your situation, and it should have done this for a number of different people. It should have been triggering to a number of different people who dealt with their father not being there and dealt with the negative consequences of that. Because my issues did not come from my mother raising me. If I had issues with men, it was because of my father. That it was because of what he showed me by not being there and what he showed me when he was around, the temporary time that he was around. But with anybody, they should be triggered by this. Like I would be livid. And I don't understand how people are looking at you and regarding you as if you should just say, my father wasn't there. Okay, that's fine. That's normal. End of story. No, this is a man. This is half of her DNA who abandoned her. This is half of your DNA who abandoned you. Then you have siblings out there. You don't have an opportunity to talk to your siblings, and then you go to your father, who should have told you about these siblings to begin with, and then it's like a brick wall. You can't even get through to him. And it's like, to me, I feel like no one's really, like, very few people are actually thinking about how you feel about this, because they're clouded by Umar Johnson, the persona, Umar Johnson, the Black leader, Umar Johnson, the person that we put on this pedestal to where he's calling himself the Messiah. But you are his child, and there was emotional damage done, and that's being ignored, because you obviously have to feel some type of way. Was your mother aware of these other children? And is that how you learned that you have multiple other children, multiple other siblings, and other than the first one that you just thought you had?
So the only reason why I found out I had, or the only reason
I am kind of curious about Sin's analysis here, because the ability to like step into someone else's shoe in this way, and I hopefully correctly, because she didn't correct anything, but correctly articulate their feelings was actually really, really well done. It does seem like she Anisa is holding back. So like that ability to like pull forward feelings, not just words and explanation, but like a feeling was very well done. Actually, I was really well done. Like it's engaging. I don't know if I should say tactical vulnerability because that feels malicious and I don't mean it maliciously. It's like sharing your own experience and connecting with someone else in a very hard time to sort of get at the issue that they're now facing and putting it in words. I actually really like this. I actually really like this. Very well done, Sin. Like this is very well done. I think. I think this is very well done.
How I found out I had another sister was because she said the mother came to our house. But other than that, to my knowledge, I don't have any other siblings from what I know.
Did the mother just come to your house trying to find like the siblings of her children, or what was she like? How did that happen where she just showed up at your house?
So my mom told me, I guess she must have looked it up because addresses are public information, and my mom did own that house at the time. But my mom told me that the lady asked her if she was still dealing with Umar. So I guess she wanted some type of insight, and they didn't have any type of relationship at that time because I was much older.
So she just randomly, this woman just contacts you and she says she needs to, which of course you can look up public records on any man and find him. I think that's what content creators online have been doing, to say that he has 3 different kids, mothers, and like 4 to 5 kids. I think they're getting this from public records, so you can look it up. But so they come to your door. She comes to your door. She's trying to get in contact with Umar. Does she mention whether or not he takes? Well, I would assume. Am I to assume that she did that because he wasn't taking care of her children either, and maybe she's trying to contact him to get some support? Or did she say why she was trying to contact him and why she thought you would?
I'm glad you're still here, Sin. This is like really good. Like it's not even a hard watch, even though it's a hard topic. It's not a hard watch. Like I can sit through it, get the information, get her story. No, like bravo. Anissa is hurting a lot. I could feel her pain. She wasn't going to express her pain because she's being attacked and bullied. I really appreciate how you are handling this. Like I don't think I've ever seen you interview anyone. I don't think I've ever seen you interview anyone. So like I know the kind person, obviously, but I also know on YouTube you're very, very forceful in your dragging and you're very adamant about that which you believe. And so I've never actually seen this kind of engagement, and maybe I missed it, but I've never seen you interview anyone. So yeah, I've never seen you interview. So I mean, it's not surprising. That's not what I'm saying. But it's very welcome. It's a very welcome version of what I expected this interview to be, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot.
Would your mom would be able to help her?
I would assume it was probably because Umar wasn't taking care of his other child either. If I had to make an assumption, it would be that. Wow. Yeah.
Why are you like that? She interviewed welfare office to learn the method of blind men extraction. This was my first time interviewing. Well, I mean, it looks like we now know what something that you're really, really good at because you ate this up.
And how would you say that you've been directly negatively affected by his absence?
So I think that it's important not only for young women, but men as well to have their fathers in their lives, because when you get older and you navigate the world, for example, when you start dating as a young lady, there's certain things that you may not know. Of course, my mom can tell me some things and I'm going to have to experience things for myself. But if the man that gave birth to you is not even there, it's kind of like, how do you even know or have an expectation? How do you have, or what expectation do you have of other men to treat you if your own father wasn't even there?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that I went through as well. I went through that because my father left our home and left my mother, a married single mother, because of a drug addiction. So he got caught up in the crack epidemic, like a lot of families did. And there was one situation where, and I talked about it on here before, where he did drugs in front of me in the car. Like he just was like, okay, we'll roll down the window. In my mind from there, which I thought, I believe was the moment my daddy issues, I guess you can call them, began. But in my mind, that's the exact conclusion I came to. In my mind, because I was 10 when this happened, I said, okay, why would this man choose his addiction over me? So immediately to me, it was like, oh, he doesn't care about me because he wouldn't be doing this in front of me. Then you have to take that and live with that. That is trauma. So whether you're thinking about it consciously or not, every man that you see, your brain is going to tell you this is not going to be a loving situation, because how can he love me? And the person who helped to create me didn't even love me enough to either stay around or enough to not show me that an addiction was above me. So to me, that pulls at my heartstrings, because I'm like,
I see why now. Sin, how is it? It's doing. I haven't given it anything yet. So Sin's own experience made it like there was some parallels between Sin's experience in terms of an absent father, even if he was there. She could relate on a deep level. I don't know how much work this is for you, Sin, but if you did something where you did a series, who they really choose series, if you did the sort of series of like talking to women who have this experience, because the fact that so many women are able to relate to an absent father, and all we talk about are men. I think a series where you're actually talking to women or young people, young women who have experienced something like this would be actually very fascinating. And I would review pretty much all of them. If you did it, I would review all of them. I actually find this way more like this is important for her and her dad and that story in the community. But I do actually think it's bigger. And I do think there should be voices. I think it is cathartic to like tell your story some way. Like I actually really appreciate this. I appreciate the storytelling behind it. I appreciate the way that you facilitate the environment for the kind of communication that is taking place. And I actually do think this is something that should be documented. Um, Older people, younger people, women who didn't have their father there, and the impact that that had on them. I would do it. I would actually do it, but I don't think there is something about the way that you're facilitating it and experiencing and feeling, and this sounds very hectic though, and feeling what this young woman is going through that I feel like allows for us, the audience, to digest it in a meaningful, thoughtful way. And I think you should keep doing this. I actually think this is actually very beautiful. Like it's a lot of pain and trauma and all of that, but this is very beautifully done. Finn did a great job employing many counseling micro skills like empathetic confrontation, reflection of feeling and meaning, and self-disclosure. Yeah. Yeah.
like, okay, this is exactly, I know the mindset because this is my mindset. So then I had a pattern going through life, not being able to emotionally connect to men. So now I'm having this issue where I'm feeling this huge emptiness.
Y'all are out of pocket. Why would you say Cynthia Walters? Why would you? Cynthia Winfrey. Period. Go take all the. No, let me leave that alone.
There's a huge void. I'm with these men, but I'm not connecting to it. And I think that in the Black community, we're so focused on exonerating Black men that we don't think about the people who have sustained damage as a result of them. And you've sustained damage as a result of this man who had the financial wherewithal to be in your life. There was no systemic issue preventing him, but he just chose to not be there.
Right.
And so I want to ask a question as well, because Umar Johnson, in this same response, he went on a diatribe, and I want to read a tiny bit of it.
Okay.
just to switch gears. But this is like it's a heavy thing to talk about. But he says over here,
Someone asked if I if I like compound questions. I generally don't like compound question. Um, I generally don't like compound questions, but I do think when someone is telling their story, I ask compound questions because I want to give them the opportunity to answer the questions that they feel more comfortable with. So, like, if I am debating you, I'm not going to ask you a compound question. I'm going to ask you a singular question. If I'm speaking to you and you're in a vulnerable state and I want the conversation to continue so you can open up, I try not to be too specific in the question. I'll ask multiple questions in the question that I'm asking, but it's multiple. So you pick the one that you're most comfortable answering. So that's what I meant. Someone just is calling me out. No. I am not like. I'll talk to some other people later. I do like this. Like I like this a lot. It's not me pretending. It's not. I do genuinely like this interview. I also know that it's not going to do the I don't think it's going to do like these huge numbers. And part of that, I think, is because it's not salacious. It's actually just two people talking and actually creating an empathetic environment, at least from the outside looking in.
that your mother put a false case on him is what he's basically saying your mother put a case on him.
Wow.
Because he's saying while he was in Sweden, he wasn't aware. I'll just read it. While I was in Sweden, I was not aware that I was also being accused by my eldest daughter of domestically abusing her mother. So he's denying this. And he's saying, first, I want to state for the record that I have never abused any woman, a fact to which my ancestors can testify. What actually happened was one day during my daughter's early years, I was going to her mother's apartment to visit my child when I noticed before entering that her rear car windows had been broken out. There was glass everywhere. And my first thought was that someone had broken into the car to steal whatever was inside. However, I noticed a note on top of my daughter's baby seat. I reached inside, wiped some of the glass away, and read the note. To my surprise, it was a letter from Mama Smurf's lover who was threatening to unalive both her and my child for unstated reasons. Although I cannot remember everything he had to say, I do remember that threat and the very aggressive tone of his letter. He didn't mention why he had chosen to vandalize her car, nor why he was threatening their lives. So I have two questions.
Before your two questions, the first and most important question is, you realize that if he believed all of what he said, he left you to die. That is the first and most important question. I wouldn't ask her that, but that you read a note from a man that's with your baby's mother, threatening to unalive her and your child, and you left them. You left them there. Is that your final answer, Dr. Umar? Is that your final answer, Dr. Umar? You sure that's how you want to tell that story? About how you were actually an absentee father who did not care enough about your child, so you left her in an environment where a man threatened to unalive her and her mother. That's your final answer. The fact that no one is talking about this is a problem.
One, has your mother ever told you about any scenario? He's saying that you witnessed it. Do you remember this ever taking place? And two, do you believe that he is trying to put this story on your stepfather? Because you did mention that you have a stepfather. So do you believe he's writing this, assuming it's not true? Is he doing this to maybe convict your stepfather of also aiding in him not seeing you?
Yes. So for the first question, I would say no. And for the second question, I would say yes. I do believe he's trying to shift the blame and take it.
Hey V, welcome, welcome. Hugs, hugs, hugs. I don't like seeing you on Instagram getting bruises. I feel like every time I go on your page, there's another bruise you're showing from like rock climbing.
Off of him and put it on my stepfather. And any claim that he's making on my stepfather is untrue. He doesn't even know him. So I just think he's just doing this to try to cover himself up, honestly.
First, I'm just gonna say this outright. When I first saw this, this is absolutely not the truth. It's click, like, dude, are you really? It's like, so now you're gonna basically Me Too the situation and create like this fake scenario where somebody slipped a note, because we all know when bandits are trying to toe tag somebody for leaving them or whatever reason, they not slipping notes.
Exactly.
Who leaving a note in the baby car seat saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna toe tag you"?
It doesn't make any sense, Cynthia. It makes no sense.
Right. like I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, Dr. Umar out of pocket. Dr. Umar is out of pocket. Talking about the man left a note that you know you're gonna turn that note into the police and he gonna be locked up. That don't make Dr. Umar out of pocket, y'all. Y'all have allowed this man to run amok for far too long. Yeah, I think it's time y'all stop this man running amok. How you gonna sit up there and say this man left a note on the car that he gonna come back and analyze it? That's wild. If he left it at 10, what car seat? Oh, period. Curry up and eat. Good catch. He made a Wattpad entry.
Now,
Oh
but on
my
this date
God.
at that time, I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna do this, that, and the third to you. No one's doing that. Like, stop it.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, just stop it. No one did this. Like, sorry,
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
it's awesome. I'm gonna get you, sucker, the note version. Like, dude, really?
Yup.
So this man is asserting that even when your mother clearly was with another man, he was just so great that she just did, like, she seeing past the man that she's with, who's helping to raise her child that he's not helping to raise, presumably, because he says this is the point at which he's telling this story. This is the point at which you stop allowing him to see your daughter, to see where your mother stopped allowing him to see you. He doesn't say how old you are. But he does say that you were at a very small age. So it sounds like he's saying that he abandoned you before you even knew that he abandoned you.
Exactly.
Because he's saying it was during my daughter's early years. Well, he did say early. He didn't say how early, so fine. But definitely he's trying to blame your stepdad. It's like, you know, that did not happen. Don't Me Too the situation, Umar. Like, all you really have to do is take accountability. And that's the thing. Because it sounds like all you really wanted is for Umar to just take accountability and actually be a father. Right. And so I have to ask you this, because many people are asking this. What do you hope to achieve, or what did you hope to achieve by sharing your experience publicly? Like, what did you hope to get out of it?
Yes. So the main two goals, number one was to find my sister, which I have accomplished. The second goal was to have a conversation with him and get all my questions answered, which I did not achieve. Now, what I can say is he did try to bring that forward. He sent me a text message privately and said, I would love you, me and your mother to sit down and have a conversation so you can have all your questions answered. So that did not get accomplished, unfortunately. But I guess the third thing is to spread more awareness on children who do not have fathers and how to turn it into a positive thing. Because even though he wasn't.
All right, so I guess I want to drag my daddy and go, because like I can, isn't couth. So I actually prefer what she's saying here. I prefer. There is no wrong answer to that question. Zero. There is no wrong answer to that question at all. Whatever reason you have, you can do it.
Wasn't there. Luckily, I had a stepfather figure that was there. And so I think that trauma can bring a lot of lessons. And I don't think that it's fair, because trauma comes in different forms. And I don't think that anyone should have to go through it. But fortunately, it does allow you to learn more about yourself, and it teaches you how to get through situations without someone else there. Yeah. Like, it kind of isolates you, so you're able to deal with things head first on your own.
Yeah. And well, the thing is, we do need to bring awareness to the issue of absentee fathers, especially when when the absentee father is a public figure. I absolutely think we do need to. But to me, I really think the Black community is completely okay with Black men abandoning their children. And even if we're not okay with it, we're comfortable with it. And the reaction that they've had to this situation shows me that there is a unspoken permission that is given to Black men to abandon their children. That's what it seems to be. But Umar.
So I hope this is not what she's saying, because I would disagree. I don't think trauma is necessary. I think conflict is. I think challenges are. But obviously, I don't know that she's saying, but for trauma, you don't grow. And I don't think she said that. But V saying the same thing I'm saying. I agree. I think trauma can be used, but I don't think trauma is the natural way for growth. And I don't want that to ever be, I don't think that's what she said, right? But I also don't want that to be interpreted. Because I've actually heard men on YouTube say you should send kids to prison because that's where they learn. And I was like, okay, that is trash. You're a trash parent. So yeah.
Umar Johnson stated that your mother, out of her bitterness, she decided to violate multiple court orders, custody orders. Do you know of any attempt that he has made to take your mother to court to hold her accountable for violating these custody orders?
No, and I'm unsure of what court orders he's talking about, because when they had a co-parenting order in place, he stopped showing up. So I'm not sure what court orders he's claiming that my mom violated. That's probably a lie too.
Yeah, well, it probably is. But here, we'll go to this because he.
Wait, send kids with girl. There were some men in the manosphere and Prince something. What's his name? Jay Prince. I don't know. Some dusty man online talking about some. I learned a lot when I was in prison, and so I think little boys should go to prison. I was like, you know what? Let me just shut this off. Let me just shut this off and never go back to this channel ever, because I'm not. No.
He is saying explicitly that there are multiple court orders that your mother violated, which, I mean, of course, Umar Johnson is claiming that he initially wanted sole custody of you. That's what he's saying. He's saying initially he wanted sole custody of you, but then your mother decided to go to court and fabricate some pictures of abuse, which would actually correspond with what your mother is saying. You said that your mother has made claims that he physically abused her. Umar put in this long diatribe that your mother took images to custody court and created a fictitious story along with your grandmother that accused him of beating on him abusing your mother. He then in here says that your grandmother became belligerent, and I'll read it. As I left family court that day, Grandma Smurf, disappointed in the judge's decision, tried to engage me in a scuffle. As we prepared to clash outside, the family court police stepped in to separate us and pulled me back into the building until the Smurfs had left the area. Do you remember? Did your mother tell you of anything about an altercation at court, or because he's saying this played out when you were here? You were a child already. You were already birthed. They're going to court for custody. He's trying to get full custody of you. Your mother is preventing him from doing so. He's saying,
I don't care nothing about what Dr. Umar says anymore. Show me the paperwork. If Dr. Umar cannot provide the paperwork, no. Dr. Umar out of pocket. You said this old lady jumped on you and tried to fight you. I mean, Dr. Umar is so unserious. Dr. Umar is so unserious, and it's so wild because it's a very disarming tactic that he is using for very serious issues. Like, you abandon your child, and now you're creating this whole dusty storyline about why you abandon your child. No.
Yes. So my mom did claim that when him and Umar went to court, that he was very vocal and just he was just acting completely out of character. So I believe that my mom requested that her dad be at the court as well, because the way he was acting was just it was just crazy.
Yeah, because he's asserting that it is your mother who was acting crazy and your grandmother who was acting crazy in court, even saying that because of because he puts here, I couldn't believe it, an entire day filled with conflict and negativity, all because of one woman's lies and hate. If Dr. Umar Ifatunde is guilty of domestic abuse, then I challenge anyone to produce a police report, arrest record, or order of restraint. This is what he's suggesting. Have you seen any of the custody paperwork that Umar is referencing?
No, because I was too young at the time.
Okay, yeah, because he said he had a stack of court papers just in case your mother lies. But what I find interesting here is he's saying that your mother filed false reports on him and took them to court. Are you aware of any restraining order that your mother may have gotten on Umar?
No, but if she was to get any restraining orders on him, I wouldn't be surprised. But to my knowledge, I'm not sure if she has. If she has, no.
Yeah, it sounds like she should have gotten one, because this is what he says here. On the day of the hearing, inside the courtroom, Mama Smurf pulled from her pocketbook approximately 12 Polaroid photos of her body that she claimed contained bruises caused by me. Knowing that I had never put my hands on her, I was certain the photos had been fabricated. When the judge asked me to take a look at the photos, I had immediately informed the judge that these were not bruises, but blotches of makeup and artificial skin color. So
Wait. Dr. Umar said he had to tell the judge that her mother put makeup. How Dr. Umar knew it was makeup? How Dr. Umar? This is not okay. This is not okay. This is actually not okay. Dr. Umar should not be able to lie like this. This is obviously a lie.
Oh, he's painting this narrative that your mother has had a history, going back to even when he attempted to get custody of you, of sabotaging him with false allegations of abuse. Do you remember at any point in any of this, your mother mentioning any attempt, either when she was getting custody or not? Because it sounds like she did what many Black women do, which is not make a report of domestic violence, because this is just known. Even if you go to the National Domestic Violence Hotline website, it notes on there that Black women are the least likely to actually report. They steer clear of this. So it sounds like although your mother needed to, she didn't. But he is suggesting that your mother lied in court in order to prevent him from getting sole custody of you. What do you think about that, especially now given his actual attitudes towards you, the indifference that he's showing, and the lack of connection that he's showing? How does that make you feel while he's also simultaneously asserting that your mother lied to prevent him from getting full custody of you?
One more question. Did you know your mother was a makeup artist? Is your mother a makeup artist? Why, like, does your mother work in special effects? Was your mother on the cutting edge of AI? Was your mother on the cutting edge of AI to doctor them for, like, Dr. Umar is playing entirely too much, and I don't like it. I think he's too comfortable. I think Dr. Umar is way too comfortable and way too confident writing this.
Yes. So if anything, if my mom was trying, I'm not going to say trying to keep me from it, because I already know that that's a lie. But if my mom went to the
Someone said Juvia's place to wait. If Juvia's place to makeup, I'm gonna do Fenty. Fenty Beauty took Black men out of the home.
court and wanted, I guess, them to put an order in place that gave my mom full custody, I wouldn't look down on her, because my mom is the one that raised me. I don't understand why he wanted full custody when he wasn't even there. He only got me a couple of times and I was a baby. I was a kid. So even to this day, I haven't had a full conversation with him. I couldn't tell you. I didn't even know that his name was Jermaine. I thought that his name was Umar. I guess that's just his, like, I guess.
That is wild. That is wild. I did not know my father's name was Jermaine. I thought it was Umar. Yeah, I wasn't ready. Is this what they've been talking about in the Discord? Talking about she didn't know her dad's name was Jermaine. Because I like Jermaine Jackson. Jermaine. I didn't know your dad's name was Jermaine either. You and me, you know your dad just as much as I do. Dr. Umar, Dr. Umar, sir, you have failed. There is no, you have failed, and I will drag anyone who supports you. Anyone who supports you can get dragged. Yep, it's that simple. This ain't right. This is not right. This is not natural.
I guess name for the public, but I didn't even know that his name was Jermaine Shoemaker. That was news to me.
So I'm glad I'm muted. I am very glad I was. I am very glad I was muted. I'm very glad I was muted because I was over here googling. No, I wasn't dragging. The only people I was dragging was myself. The only person I was dragging was myself. So you're telling me that I was donating to someone I thought name was Umar Johnson, and a quick Google search would have showed me that his name is not no Umar Rashad Abdullah. Girl, who is Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson? Wait, who that be? What do you mean born? Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson, born Jermaine Shoemaker. Wait, what happened? Also, Umar telling people that he's American Ghanaian. He probably got a birth, a citizenship in Ghana. Umar Rashad. Didn't Umar, girl, Umar is, this is nasty work. This is nasty work. Didn't Umar say, Umar came out and said he wanted to change his name to Ifatunde. The assumption there is that Umar is his real name. And he was going to change his real name from Umar to Ifatunde. But you're telling me you already changed your name from Jermaine to Umar Rashad Johnson, and then you are now going to change it to Ifatunde. The last man I know that changed his name so many times was Diddy. P. Diddy was the last public figure I know of that kept changing his name. The fact that Umar Johnson ain't your name is a problem for me. No, the fact that, because I remember him like, oh, I'm going to call myself Ifatunde now. And I was like, okay, girl, I ain't calling you that. Your name is going to be Umar Johnson. That's what I know you as. But to find out that Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson was not his real name, but that Jermaine Shoemaker was his real name, and that him changing his name to Ifatunde is like a third reiteration of a name. I got period. Umar's stressing me out. Umar's stressing me out.
But I'm not really sure why he wanted full custody, because he wasn't even ever really there. And the lies that he's claiming on my mother, yeah, they're lies. My mom never tried to keep me away from him. He just doesn't want to take responsibility.
Why do you think he's so focused on having a discussion, only having a discussion with you when your mother is present? Because I find that strange. Like, you're not a small child, you're
Exactly.
grown. But in Umar's videos and his written statement, he's requesting to have a discussion.
What do you mean, Umar obligata? Oblongata. Umar Oblongata Johnson is not sure.
Discussion, but only if your mother is present. Why do you think he's so hyper focused on your mother?
I think he wants her there so that he can try to manipulate the situation, which he can't do because I already know the truth. And like you said, Cynthia, I do agree with you. I'm 22 years old now. I'm not a minor. I'm an adult at this point. So if you wanted to make the effort to be in my life, or if you wanted to have a conversation with me, that should be done with me. I don't know why you keep trying to include my mother in this when she doesn't have anything to do with it. Y'all no longer have a relationship. So what's the point?
I'm not willing to believe that a man who I'm not willing to believe that a man who is calling his child a clout chaser, saying that you're basically a gold digger out to misuse or besmirch your father's name all for money. I'm not willing to believe that that's a person who ever wanted full custody of a child, especially a man who now it is being said, we already know he had at least 2 daughters, but there are talks of him having multiple.
Yeah, I like her energy too. It's clear she it's clear she wants to build her channel. It's clear she wants to do the social media thing. It's clear that she is leveraging this the best way she knows how to, and I have no problem with this. I have zero problem with this.
Daughters. Have you decided to go out and seek to try and find your other sisters that you're being told that you have?
Someone said something in the comment that I wanted to wait for a second. The fact that you're critiquing where Umar's daughter is going is so out of pocket to me. You should be only critiquing Umar. Dr. Umar is the only one you should be critiquing. We want to know what you said. 'Cause I was stressing out. Thank you for being a member for 34 months, by the way. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. The case, Jermaine, the baby seat and the body makeup. Dr. Umar out of pocket. He is too out of pocket. Umar may not have a school, but his child is holding class, period. We know his name, and that Themis didn't vet that man either. I don't be vetting these men, girl. I just be letting these men run amok. Why isn't the mom on there then? She is the peer. I don't understand what you're saying. Esda, Howard, do you want to come up? I haven't had anyone sort of explaining to me like the mother and the child's responsibility, and I've been looking for that. No. Don't say because she's grown. Maybe S dot has some points, and we're not an echo chamber over here. We like to like S dot drop a 1 if you want to come up and explain. Drop a 1. I'll drop the link if you can. No, sir, I don't want to be a YouTube. I don't know what you mean. All right, well, that's none.
Yeah, so luckily I did. Yes, luckily I did find his other daughter. As stated before, she reached out to me. Well, actually, let me tell you how it happened. So, she has a younger brother. The younger brother has another dad, but the same mom. So his dad isn't Umar. He has another dad, but he reached out to me via Instagram.
Yeah, they attack her and the mother because they can't defend Umar. That's why they attack her. They can't defend Umar, so they attack her.
And told me that he knows my sister. Well, they know each other obviously because they're siblings, but he then gave me his mother's number and we got on the phone and she said hi, she kind of introduced herself. We had a short conversation and she said that she would allow me to speak to the daughter when she got home from school. So luckily I did get in contact with one of the daughters. As far as his other children, I don't know their names. I don't even know if he has other children, but the more I go on the internet, the more I'm starting to like realize maybe he does have other children that I don't know about. But if he does, how come he only spoke about me and his younger daughter? Maybe he doesn't have other children.
Well, the thing.
For a man accused of abusing the mother to consistently talk about where's the mother, I want to talk to the mother, is really telling when the young woman in front of you is a grown woman that you can talk to on your own. I have a problem with that.
Thing is, it's highly likely actually that Umar could have multiple other children out there because the reality is he's not tied to one woman. He doesn't make it publicly known that he has any children, and he travels around, his primary core base being Black women who he knows don't hold Black men to any standards or are accountable for anything. So the reality is Umar could have a whole slew of children that no one knows about, that not even you. But does your mother and your sister know that you came publicly, you know, to let it be, to try and find your sister?
I believe that she does know I came public only because her son, which is Umar's daughter's brother, reached out to me via Instagram. So I'm pretty sure she does know that I went public about it, but she made sure to let me know to please not post any pictures or put her name out there, which I wouldn't do that anyway because it's an invasion of privacy. But yeah.
No, her picture doesn't need to be out there, and I do suspect that is one of the reasons that Umar does want her brought to the forefront. I think he wants to weaponize the community against her. I really do. Is she aware of any of what he's saying about her, that, you know, she essentially lied on him in court in order to prevent him from seeing you?
So are you talking about his other daughter?
No, your mom. Sorry. I'm sorry. Is your mom aware of any of the things that he's publicly saying about her?
Yes.
What does she think about it? Because I mean, this has to be at the very least very disappointing for her.
So she actually came in my room a couple days ago and showed me a live clip of him basically saying that my mom was the bottom of his shoe. She was a piece of dirt, all of these nasty comments. She also she talked to me about a message, which I'm not going to go into detail because this is private, but this was a message that he sent her basically claiming that my mom never took care of me. I was taken care of. I was abandoned. It was just a lot of claims and a lot of lies. Like, he's very known for lying.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. I saw a video where I thought he was titling it to you, where I think he titled it "You're the scum of the earth" or something. Is that the one you're referring to? Because I know there is one that I saw from his channel that is titled that. I thought he was directing it to you, which either way, even if he's directing it to you or your mother, it's just as deplorable.
Exactly.
Bottom line. But I'm assuming that's the video. If you could say anything to Umar now, if you wanted one message for him to get, what would it be?
If I was being 100% honest, I would say that I'm disappointed in not only the lies and accusations that you had made that are false, but also the response that you gave to me publicly. I am supposed to be your daughter. I'm supposed to be the person that you protect and take care of. But instead, you get on the internet and you make not only false accusations, but it's just the vocabulary that you're using. The mama smurf, the daughter smurf. It's childish to me. So disappointment is what I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'm very, and it's funny, a lot of people say that me and Umar, and I'm not going to, like, yes, he is my father, but if I was to call him Umar and not my father, I have the right of doing that because he hasn't been there. I have a father that's in my life. So I'm very vocal. A lot of people say that we have very similar personalities. I'm very outspoken. And I even told him, I sent him a voice message and said, you know, I'm disappointed in how you responded to me on social media. And I don't like the accusations that you're making. So I responded to him and I told him this, of course, not face to face, but over the phone. So he knows how I feel.
Yeah, the whole thing is incredibly disappointing. I would, especially the language that he's using. I would think that at the very least he would agree that you are old in a discussion. You did say in one of the videos that you made, you said that he had reached out and scheduled to set up to talk to you and him. Did he just decide he didn't want to do that discussion either? He just never showed?
So yeah, he pretty much stopped responding after he sent me that message.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. I look, I just want to say this. I am so sorry. I am. I feel for you. I can relate to the absentee father part, but what I can't relate to is an absentee father taking to social media to publicly disparage me. So I don't understand how that feels, but I can still put myself in the position of if it had happened to me. And I know it has to be hurtful. It has to be very disappointing. I'm pretty sure in your mind, you can't possibly have positive thoughts for him. This would obviously also have to be very confusing. Why does he have so much disdain for you? You did nothing to him, except it exists. And then for me to sit here and see, you know, the evidence of Umar being your father all over your face, I don't get it. Like, there's no way Umar can look.
Smurf was very calculated so that certain parts of what he wrote wouldn't be used in court. It's going to become funny and all of that too. It does bother me to a large extent, but to a lesser extent than the bigger picture, that everyone keeps critiquing her and what she's doing. And I think you have to, like, there was someone who was like, even if Dr. Umar wanted to, you are attacking his empire. If the empire is built on lies, why would we want to defend that empire? Like, if Dr. Umar is scamming or whatever it is that you believe, someone said, what empire? I'm gonna just go ahead and hang it up. I'm gonna go ahead and hang it up. What do you mean? Empire of Dust. Y'all won't even let me get a word out. Y'all just going in. I can't get a word out. What Empire is Dust to work? I'm done. You're fine. Y'all have it.
Look at you and not see himself. There's no way he can do it because everyone who looks at you sees Umar.
Mhm.
You are his genetic legacy at the end of the day. And he has chosen to turn his back on his genetic legacy, all the while going through the community and pretending that he cares about the Black genetic legacy. Umar's primary base is Black women, So my last question is this. Given that Umar's primary base is Black women, he's abandoned and disparaged you, a Black woman, and your mother. He has called you a clout chaser and said you're out for a money grab. Do you think that Umar Johnson is the one out for a money grab of Black women?
Objection. Objection. Leading question. Objection. Objection. Leading question. Yeah, Joe. Leading, um, I am not defending Umar. He is a joke, but fear is fear. Where is the mom and what's her side? Only she knows. What do you mean? There's no fear is fear here. Umar admitted to abandoning his child. Like, what part of fear? Why do you say fear is fear? There's no fear. There's nothing to be fear about. Umar now, Umar and Umar alone has the burden of proof right now. Umar said that he abandoned his daughter. His daughter comes out and said Umar abandoned her. Umar is the problem, point blank, period. No one else. Until Umar can provide sufficient evidence for anything else to be in the conversation, no one else should be mentioned at all in the conversation. Umar already made clear what he did. His daughter came out and made clear what Umar did. They're consistent. They met. Got it was like.
Oh, I really don't know how to answer this question. So what I will say too is because I did see the comments of him calling me a clout chaser, but not only that, he said.
So is a man that provides child support but not active or dead.
Said that I was in it for a money grab. But my response to that was because there were a lot of people reaching out to me to do interviews, a lot of like big people with platforms and things like that. And the only thing I said is that if I'm coming to someone's platform to talk about something, especially this situation, my response to that was I don't think that it would be fair for me to do it for free only because they're profiting off of this story. So that was my response to that. And I know your question was, do I think that Umar is being or is doing a money grab? You said for Black women.
Do you think he's exploiting Black women for money?
I do think so. Yes.
I think he is too. Absolutely. Like to me, to me, it's blatantly clear that Umar Johnson does not respect Black women. You're a Black woman, you're his daughter. If you're not going to respect your daughter, if you can't have grace for your daughter, if you will title a video and try to tell your daughter or her mother that either one of them is the scum of the earth, you do not like Black women. He does not. And more than anything, I think that's what you expose. I really think that even if you weren't trying to, I think you expose how Umar actually feels about Black women.
They don't believe Black men are responsible for raising their children. Thus the dusty inquiry. Yeah. Thank you. Please end by playing father figure. Then Sinji can name their series hiding figure.
Is what it is. Absolutely do not do anything for free. Don't do any interviews for free because they do. This is why I would never approach you asking you to do a free interview. It's insulting. The bottom line.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad. I am glad you that's your final comment. I'm very happy that's your final comment. That is really annoying. It is annoying that 2025 people don't actually know what fatherhood is and don't care to engage. That is wild to me. The fact that you even thought that, the fact that you even thought that, then type that, then hit send on that in the comment section is wild, diabolical, and disgusting. And I see why Dr. Umar probably think he was an okay father. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you like? The thought, even the mere thought of like, oh, if I just pay whatever child support is per week, every 2 week, every month, if I pay that, then I'm a good father. Even if I don't know my child don't know my name, I know nothing. That should be your last comment. That should be your last comment. That is wild. That is what the reason, by the way, I paused is because I do actually want more diverse voices here. And if I had responded the way that I wanted to respond, sorry, I don't think it would have been a good reflection of the community that I'm trying to build. So that's why I stopped talking. But it is a wild thing to ask if you're a deadbeat when you pay child support. Yes, if you don't show up in your child's life, you're a deadbeat, you're a degenerate, you're useless. How are you like, I don't understand. Oh my God, and you responded. And you responded. Timus, we know you're in your piece era. Your response was highly appreciated. Yeah, appropriate. A deadbeat is a father that ran from his responsibility entirely. This is not my definition of fatherhood. You're smart enough to know that. I asked you if you wanted to come up to explain yourself, and you said you don't want to be on YouTube, as if anyone is going to know who you are. You don't have to turn on your camera. You could literally just talk. No one is going to know who you are. But beyond that, a deadbeat is a father that ran from his responsibility entirely. You have entirely ran from your responsibility if you're not there to be a father to your child. What do you mean? Financial support is the least of your problems. And it is your definition of fatherhood. It is your definition of fatherhood. If it weren't your definition of fatherhood, you would not have said it. You don't get to hide behind, oh, I don't think that. If you didn't think this was your definition of fatherhood, you wouldn't have said it. You would have been dragging Umar too. You have ran from your duty entirely as a parent when you are not there for your child. What do you mean? And if you think your duty is to give money to your child while you're in a separate country, a separate state, you have misunderstood what it means to be a parent. You think the word entirely is going to do a lot of work for you, isn't it? Don't it? In the procreation process, after you left, you have not run entirely from your duty, right? You have helped in the creation, helped, the bare minimum. You have helped when you disappeared. You have helped when you send money. You are not a parent. You're not a father. You have abandoned your duty. Sending money is not you being a father. entirely is not going to do any work for you at all. It is not. You are a deadbeat.
Line is they are out to make money and they want to make money off of you without giving you money. And it's like, absolutely not. Umar, as far as I'm concerned, he owes you money. He needs not open his mouth and talk about a money grab towards his child. It's like, you owe her. So write the check because you owe her. It's like you shouldn't even, Umar should be throwing money at you as far as I'm concerned. But I'll let you close it out. It's your time. The floor is yours. I'll let you close it out. If you want to, you can allow people in the chat box to ask additional questions, but it is up to you because it is your time.
Yes, so I will repeat what I had said in the beginning. Cynthia had asked me to introduce myself. So my name is Anisa. I'm 22. I'm from Philadelphia. And as far as what I do, I'm a content creator and comedian. I do make content on Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is Nisa the Goat, NISA
Here,
DA.
I'll throw it in the chat box for you.
Okay.
Somebody,
That's my Instagram and my TikTok. If anyone wants to ask any questions in the chat box, I'll let Cynthia tell me the questions. So yeah, you guys can ask.
Yeah, I'll definitely give them. I'll give them, if you have 10 to 15 minutes of time. I'll give them that to ask questions because to be honest, I gotta go soon too. But let me drop your handle in the chat box and then I'll pull some questions that people may want to ask. So I'm gonna put your
live on Twitter, and he had about 2,000 viewers.
Really hurt sending you love.
Yes. So let me think. How do I want to explain? Umar's last name is Abdullah. So his name, to my knowledge, is Umar Abdullah Johnson. So he has two last names, but I only acquired Abdullah. I don't have the name.
Wait. So you have his fake name. Did Umar legally change his name? Because his real name is Jermaine Shoemaker. Or Shoemake. I don't think there's a maker there. I think it was Jermaine Shoemake. But you got Abdullah, which is the fake name. Maybe he legally changed his name. He probably legally changed his name. Yeah, all right, cool. He legally changed. All right, girl, because what? Yeah, I was about to look, my mind was about to be blown if he gave his child a fake name.
Johnson. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating that a lot of people are asking me to prove it, which I can see why, but there's nothing to prove now.
To me, your face is proof enough. Like to me, you look like them, like heavily. So people. Sometimes the Black community irks me because why are you asking for proof of something that happens most of the time in the community? Most of the time, there is a Black man who is fathering a child, be it male or female, and most of the time they're abandoning that child. It just is what it is. But someone wants to know if you think your dad has ever been with a white woman, and I'll combine it with somebody else's comment. They wanted to know, is Umar really a closet colorist? Because he talks about dark chocolate Black women, but you're lighter. So that's what they're wanting to know. Is he really lying about liking dark-skinned women, essentially? Is he really hiding a white or light-skinned woman?
So to the first question, I'm not sure if he's ever dated a white woman. I would assume no, because the comments that he makes and the things that he says regarding interracial relationships, he is very against Black men or Black women being with white men or women. So I would say probably not. And for the second question, as far as the whole colorist thing, I'm not sure. And I did hear a lot of people say, how can this be his daughter when she's so light? I would consider myself to be brown. And also when it comes to genes, two dark-skinned people can make a lighter child. So it's just, it's genes. It's all genes.
The reason they're saying that is because Umar promotes only desiring like really, really dark-skinned women. This is what he promotes. And then when they're seeing you, they're like,
I don't think there is an R like shoemaker. I think it's shoemake. I don't know if it's German. Someone said it was German. I don't know.
Like, okay, well, her phenotype doesn't match you liking dark-skinned women.
But I'm gonna call him Shoemaker. So there is that. You can get shoemaker. You can get blacksmith. You can get hard shoes. Like I'm gonna call you Shoemaker. So
they just think it's another thing that he's lying about being a colorist. But I wanted Sabrina wants to know: is there anything that Umar can do to reestablish a relationship with you?
The first thing would be to answer the questions that I have, because I do have a lot of questions for him. And after those questions are answered, if we're able to have some type of conversation on a consistent basis, I think that would be a great start to establishing a relationship. I was told to not do interviews because it would possibly what's the word? If he was to see this, he would probably think that I would be trying to hurt him publicly when I'm just answering questions. So I'm not really too fond of establishing a relationship with him because it's like I'm 22 now. I already have a lot of people in my life who are supportive. But if that's something that he would want to do, I would be open to it. But it's like I've already reached out. I've already done my part. So now I feel like he needs to do his.
Yeah, I think that bridge does need to be gapped by Umar. He is the one who's behaving like a petulant child right now. So, and he's the parent in the situation. So he needs to initiate that. But I do think it is good that you still have it open for him to have a relationship. Because it really, to me, that's what it sounds like you want. It's no problem to me if you want money, but to me, it sounds more like you would actually like to have a relationship with your biological father, which is completely normal. Who wouldn't? I probably would have loved to have one with mine if he wasn't drowning in a drug addiction. So, I mean, it's normal. But so I'll take 2 more questions because it's already 10 minutes after. So Hutu and Mama said, Umar has multiple sisters. Have your aunts ever reached out to you?
One of my aunts, I think, reached out to me via Instagram DM, but I didn't get the chance to respond. And I also wonder how many sisters does he have? I'm not sure.
Do they know about what's going on now?
Probably.
Okay, but has any of them said anything, like reached out and been like, okay, well, you're doing this because this, that, and the third? Because we know Black women are the greatest defenders of Black men.
I think that's my first issue, but I'm gonna leave that alone. That's my first issue. To be fair, they don't have right. It's not an issue anymore. No one has right to her and her story or communication and friendship with her. So, but if they reached out in good faith, I would respond. But she doesn't have to. That's her prerogative. Actually, taking that all back.
And we just know this.
I believe that one of his sisters did give me some words of encouragement. She was just like, step away from social media when you need to. And she was like, I'm always here if you need me. And I think she gave me her number. So yeah, she reached out.
Oh, yeah, that's sweet. I'm glad. And there was someone in the chat box also who wanted you to know. I'm remembering the comment. I accidentally moved it and I didn't mean to. That person wanted you to know that you're beautiful and smart and you are supported. And you absolutely 100% are. And I think ultimately, even though this is like the height of it where, you're trying to tell your story, Umar's throwing a tantrum, I do think that you'll have a good resolution with him. I do. I think eventually you will. Somebody, the Hello Kitty said, do you remember your interactions with Umar before he stopped coming around?
So when I was younger, I do remember him being very strict. I remember, I think I had came home from school and he was like, you can't watch TV until you're done your homework. But I just remember him being very stern and very, very, very strict.
Yeah. I mean, but that's good though, that he would have been there to provide some structure and discipline through the structure. So that's good. And it's good that you did have some memories of him being a father. It's just, I think, unfortunate, that you weren't allowed to have the full benefit of him as a father. But we have 2 more minutes. I don't know if we have time for one more question. I was going to try to pull out one more question, but I don't know if there is one. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't think I do.
Oh, they're inquiring about my TikTok. Yes, the original account was banned. But I do have a new
TikTok
account.
Is too censoring to me.
Yes.
It seems like you're very adaptable too. You probably know how to turn it off and on depending on the environment. So I would think he would be proud and happy, and it doesn't. I will say this: the screenshots that he's shown when he addresses you to you, it does seem like that he has some affection towards you, but the way that he's parading around on social media is complete trash. I don't think that he doesn't care about you. I think he's being a petulant child. I think he thinks that his empire or whatever he established, I think he sees the potential for it crumbling, and I think he's responding to what the potential fallout could be. But regardless, the way that he's reacting is inappropriate. He needs to get off of social media and have a discussion with you, because that's what he owes you. And hopefully he'll do that. Hopefully you'll be able to, you'll be able to have a relationship with him and build a relationship in the future. Hopefully he'll get off whatever he's on and start acting like a father. So this is not it. But yeah, I'll let you say your last word and then we'll leave it there.
Yeah, so Cynthia, it was very amazing meeting you. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, if you would like to see more of me, my Instagram, TikTok, and all of my other social media platforms, Cynthia did pin on the screen. And yeah, this was a great interview.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for coming. And I just wanted you to be able to tell your side of the story, because I see he has the platform for it. So you need to be able to tell your story as well and for it to get out. And even if there's anything in the future that you want to come out and talk about, feel free to let me know. And definitely the platform is here for you. We do support you here, and we have no problem rallying around you in support and love and understanding, because we definitely get it. And quiet as is kept, a lot of the people who are criticizing you, they understand it too, because they probably lived it, because this is a epidemic in our community. community. And so thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you the best, and I wish you and your relationship with Umar the best as well. Y'all go follow her on Instagram and on TikTok as well. I don't think that this is the last that we'll hear from you. I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Oh,
Because
God.
you have a big, vibrant personality, and I do think it should be shared with the world. It should.
Thank you, Cynthia.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. The way that that interaction just took place, absolutely adore, love, amazing. Umar needs to be there to mentor his child and encourage her, because she obviously, like, I don't want to say it like this, but she obviously wants to be in like social media sphere, and he's really good. Call Dr. Umar whatever you want, but he's really good at being on people's TV or screen or whatever. And so, like, to have someone with so much potential who seems sweet. I don't know her, but like she seemed like a sweet person. And to like not engage more in helping her develop. Like y'all always talk about men are leaders, blah, blah, blah. This is someone, your child, who wants some mentorship guidance in a chosen career path. And instead of like helping, you're calling her a cloud chaser. Instead of investing, you're like leaving her out there. And thankfully, Sin did a good job, right? She did a great, exceptional job in engaging with this young lady and encouraging her and like supporting her. Like, I mean, it sucks because it feels very simple what she's asking for, and he's just not giving it. And that's wild to me and sad. In any case, I did enjoy the video, and that little part at the end was very heartwarming. I want her to tour Hotep YouTube for the rest of the year to wake the women up. She is relatable and armed with truth. Yeah, but you even saw people in my chat, in this chat, talking about how where is the mom isn't paying your child support good enough for you to be a father. Sorry. There are people in my chat talking about he paid child support. He was a great daddy. He's not a deadbeat. He paid his child support. Okay? So I think this is going to be mentally exhausting for her. I think she should try and do what she wants and get as much as she can and build whatever platform it is that she needs. They were visitors. Yeah, tell them not to visit me here more frequently because I don't want that. I do want diverse opinion, but I want your opinions to be based in something, and I want you to be able to back it up. So when you have an opinion, be willing to come up here and defend it. I don't like cowards talking about I am busy, I gotta go, but you stayed here the entire time, going back and forth in the chat, defending degeneracy, and then saying, "Oh, I'm not here to defend." I wish you had come up. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Sin. I appreciate watching. I know the channel appreciated viewing. We had upwards of 900 people in here. I hope the likes match. And I'll keep it open. I'll keep it open. I do think more people should be responding and pushing this video. And let me say this in the after show. Let's go in the after show. Not for this channel, but other, particularly Black channels. When Black channels, I don't like saying this like this, but when people engage in this kind of content, I think that it is our responsibility to push it, to watch it, and force the algorithm to engage with it. We reinforce and we repeat the things that we watch. We tell the algorithm that they're important and we value it. And if we are to, and I'm not saying change the mess, I do think that mess is fun. Mess is cool. And we engage, watch, and separate ourselves from the mess for entertainment. But I would also want us to push the good, positive content that even where it is hard to engage with, where there is not anyone being messy, it's people engaging meaningfully. And it does sadden me sometimes. It saddens me sometimes when really good, thoughtful content gets pushed aside for messier drags. And I thought this was a very lovely interview. Actually, a lot of interviewers don't even extend as much grace and care for what it is that they do. So I appreciate it. In any case, hopefully I'm doing my part in promoting good, meaningful stuff, and you will also. All right. And on that note, I was going to go back live on TikTok, but I can't. Well, I can, but I don't want to because I want to order food, Jamaican food, and eat and like go watch Wheel of Time because it came back and I haven't seen the new Wheel of Time. And I also have work to do. So that. Thank you all. Like the video on your way out. I will keep this open. I'm going to try to go live tomorrow because Keita Rose did a video that summarizes everything that she wanted to do. And there's a part of me that want to watch it live with y'all because I haven't watched it yet. But I wanna watch it live with y'all. So I might come back tomorrow. We'll see. Oh, and I'm not gonna be debating for a while. Y'all not about to stress me out. I'm in my soft boy era. And so give me a week of softness and then I'll come back. Because I have three more people reached out, men, reach out. I don't know their race. They said they wanted to debate me because the other two men weren't smart enough. They said that the other two men weren't smart enough, so that they I don't know what I got myself into. So I, I'll 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 sit, relax, and then next weekend I'll let you know if I decide to continue. Because what y'all not going to do is stress me out. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for the support. I tried to rewatch the debate, and it has taken me multiple days, and I still haven't finished rewatching it. That's how tough rewatching that debate what is. So, if you can't watch it, I understand. I fully understand. I sat there and I was like, yeah, cool. All right. See you all later. Bye.